was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I'm Dr. Miller, a dentist and a volunteer for Dental Lifeline Network. DLN asks dentists to volunteer to see just one patient per year who might not have access to proper oral health care. Join me in making a difference.
Go to willyouseeone.org to learn more.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
When you're talking about a team that hadn't qualified for the Stanley Cup playoffs since the Obama administration, I think you could probably say you didn't expect them to see them in the second round. They really impressed me in their win over Boston. They played physically. They bounced back when they faced adversity, and I think they got a good, harsh education in that series to prepare them for this Montreal team. I also think that they play with a physicality that can continue to wear down this team as Tampa tried to in the first round.
It's the Adam Gold Show. Hi, everyone. It's Adam Gold. That's Max Gorin. He's sitting in for Victoria, who's continuing to concert this week somewhere in the state of Florida. That was Greg Wyshynski from ESPN, our friend. We're all about the Stanley Cup playoffs. We have a day off again today. Yesterday was the pardon the pun, aftermath of a Game 2 overtime win. Today, we breathe, and we're going to talk about other things besides hockey today, but we are going to talk about hockey because that's where I think we're all thinking about it constantly. There's other things filtering in. We are going to talk a little college football today with Chip Patterson. It's a Wednesday. We're going to do that with Chip. But I promise you, he's a Canes fan too, so we'll probably start with that anyway. So we'll do that. Trey Wingo is going to join us at the bottom of this hour, and two things that we'll talk about with Trey, and I'll mention one of them here, is the soon-to-be, we'll just call it significantly reduced impact of the Live Golf League, but also NFL stuff with Trey Wingo. So, he goes back and forth between those two are his primary topics on his Wingo Network podcast. He's got tons of podcasts. He's always doing something. So we'll talk to him about both of those things. And we'll also talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs and where Carolina is. So we have a lot of stuff to do. Let's just dig in right now, shall we?
Let's get it started in here.
I seemed very directionless, Max. Almost as though I'm not prepared for today, but I am. You have no opinion on anything.
Yeah, it's just one of those days where locally there isn't a ton happening.
I texted my friend Mike with the Hurricanes today, right? And I said, I'm thinking about, what am I going to talk about today other than the Hurricanes? I'm like, why would I talk about anything other than the Hurricanes? We are going to mix in football.
Gosh, if these days off are tough,
no, they ain't tough.
Just wait until they have 10 days off between round 2.
That would be fine. Not good, but good at the same time. Think about it. And because we've seen the schedule. Game 3 tomorrow, Game 4 Saturday. If this series, and I'm not anticipating that it will, but if this series takes on the same pattern, Montreal and Buffalo do not play Game 3 of their series until Sunday. What if that series, and that is going to be a long series, we will be sitting around for a week and a half before the Eastern Conference Finals begins. Is that good? I actually think it's okay.
It's good for the team probably to rest, but it's bad for us because we just got to sit here twiddling our thumbs.
Oh, I'll do more than that. Look, I'll be okay with the rest. I'll get stuff done. In my personal life, I'll get stuff done. Maybe I'll go to the gym. What are we talking about? Of course not. All right, we are going to talk a little bit about the Hurricanes. I want to bring something up that, the Lightning and the Canadiens played a 7-game series. Actually, let me set Andrei Vasilevsky aside for 1 second. Let me go back to Game 2. This is Hunter Brody from WIP in Philadelphia. He is an unabashed Flyers fan. And I think this is a fairly accurate assessment of what we saw in Game 2.
I am very crushed. Yeah, I'm very sad. There was a moment there in overtime when I was watching this team hum, and I thought they were bringing it back to Philadelphia, tied 1-1. And then all of a sudden, it got pulled out from underneath of me, the dream. Because I'm thinking about myself Thursday night, being in the building, Game 3, the crowd on its feet. And it's still going to be bonkers, and they're going to try and will this team back into the series. But it would have tasted a lot different. It would have tasted a lot sweeter. And now, man, you're on your heels. Not that it's surprising, and I'm definitely proud of the effort today compared to what transpired in Game 1, but it was right there. Travis Konechny in overtime, when Carolina makes a huge mistake, you have to make them pay. And you miss the net? You missed the net? My God. The power play. How could it be this bad? Just when I think it can't get worse, it gets worse.
All right. First of all...
Are you sure that guy's from Philly?
First of all, 2 things. The only thing we didn't hear was him say wooder. Right? 2 things. 1, I also thought Travis Konechny missed the net. But guess what? He didn't. Freddie got the blocker to it. Saved. I thought it missed the net too. But Freddie got a piece and knocked it wide. Another example of Frederik Andersen showing you that muscle memory exists. And the muscle memory extends beyond this season. Because there was never a point in this year where Frederik Andersen looked like this. Not even for a period has he looked like this all year. And whatever, I don't even care the reasons for it. I don't. And it would be silly to think that this, what we have seen for 6 games, is going to extend for another 6 weeks. It would be silly to think that. It would be great. It's not impossible. But there's going to be some reversion to the mean. But I would say that with any goaltender. It'll happen with Dan Vladar. Frankly, I think we already saw it. The Jarvis goal that tied the game, hit off his glove. Get your glove to it. Probably should save it. Although it might have been deflected off the shot. The very possible, it's a slight possibility that, based on another view of it, it might have ticked off a stick on the way in. Anyway, but that's why Brandon Bussey is waiting in the wings. I assume at some point, maybe this series, maybe the next one, I don't know. I assume we'll see Brandon Bussey. Maybe we won't have to. Who knows? Maybe Freddie will give us 2 more games of this. Carolina plays Thursday, Saturday. Saturday is a 6 o'clock game, slightly earlier. Is it possible that Anderson, heavy workload on Thursday, even in a win, we go to Brandon Bussey on Saturday? Possible? Unlikely? Depending on how Freddie plays, no reason to change anything. By the way, Alexander Nikishin will draw in. So Travis Konechny did hit the net. And then Philadelphia's power play. I mean, it was 32nd in the league during the regular year. I mean, I'm not that surprised. Carolina's penalty kill wasn't vintage all year, mostly because Jacob Slavin only played half of it. But it was certainly significantly better in the second half than it was in the first half.
It's been really, really good through 6 games of the playoffs as well.
2 for 32. Or 30 out of 32. Whatever that math is. I know you said yesterday it's only 3rd best in the league.
And Boston might have top spot for the PK locked up because they're out and they hit it 95% in the first round.
I don't know. Carolina's pretty close. It was 96%.
Yeah, it's like 93.8 or something.
When it was 24 out of 25, it was 96%. And then Philly went, I believe, 1 for 7 in game 2. But, sometimes it isn't about how many, like the percentage, but how many you allow. Now, Carolina is going to the penalty box too much. So it doesn't really matter how great your percentage is if you give 7 or 8 power plays away in a game. And that's way too many, what's going on. Carolina can't go to you're going to lose a game if you go to the penalty box 6 times.
Doesn't matter
7
how
times.
bad the other team's power play is if you give them enough opportunities. I mean, so the Flyers went, like, what was it? It was 1 for 6?
1 for 7.
Or 1 for 7, and that was 14%, which is right around their regular season rate of 15%.
Yep.
Like, once you give up enough chances, eventually they will score no matter how bad they are. So, got to be better on the discipline. I mean, how many Svechnikov stick infractions can you have in one game?
I had that conversation.
Vintage.
Yeah, I had that conversation about Andre. Like, Andre is getting called for penalties that nobody gets called for.
Yeah,
we understand that.
And then he's on the other end of a penalty that, if he did it, would be 100% called.
Right.
But he gets cross-checked in front of the net, and it's then they decide to let him play, even though they called a million. There was a penalty every 2 minutes. So honestly, I just hope even for Philadelphia, like just call fewer in general. The whole idea of the playoffs is that the refs are supposed to swallow the whistle. That has not been the case.
I think Rick Tocchet would agree. He would rather see more 5-on-5 play. And I know Rod Brindamore would. Look, bench minors, which we've seen both ways. Delay of game puck over glass. Carolina had 2 of those. Right? Those can't happen. But yeah, the little ticky-tack stuff that they theoretically in the postseason let go, certainly against Andre, they have not. Now, Andre now has a reputation, so he's never going to get the benefit of the doubt. His stick comes up, a little slight tap to the side of the helmet, and the guy throws his head back. Up, there he goes. Also, let's remember that we do have at least one instance of an absolute bought penalty where Nick Seeler grabbed Jordan Martinook's stick and smacked himself in the face with it intentionally, which he apologized for. Whatever. But Carolina's got to stay out of the penalty box because, 7 opportunities for the other team ain't where it's at. I also would love an explanation as to why they penalized Logan Stankoven for goaltender interference when he was clearly, obviously checked into the goalie. I mean, how do you miss that? Rasmus Ristolainen checks him into Dan Vladar. Vladar, they're complaining in Philadelphia that Vladar got penalized when he's slashing Stankoven on the ice. Like, well, you can't allow that. You can't allow the goaltender to hit the other player with the stick. So that's a penalty. And I get it. If Stankoven had hit Vladar of his own volition, yeah, that's goaltender interference. But he was legitimately checked right into it. And I don't know how you missed that, but they missed it. Anyway, I thought, and I said this after the game, and Rod Brindamore talked about it yesterday. He talked about there's another level we have to get to. Not we have more to give, not we can play better, because they recognize it. There is another level that this team has to get to. Forget about this round. You still have to win this round. You got 2 more games to win. They will not be easy, starting tomorrow night in Philadelphia. But in order to win the next round, they're going to have to play significantly better. And I said this after game 2. Carolina got away with it. They got away with okay in game 2. Freddie Anderson won the game for them. So that's okay. I mean, it's going to happen. Teams all across the playoffs have relied on their goaltender to get them out of a game. This is now 1 in each round where Frederick Anderson got them through a game and won them a game. Game 2, double overtime against the Senators in round 1. Game 2, Monday night against Philadelphia. Freddie won the game. All right, now moving on. But you have to play better. And Carolina didn't play all that well. Now, there were players who had unbelievable individual performances. We talked about Keandre Miller and Sean Walker. Taylor Hall had moments of brilliance. Nick Ehlers, I thought, had a really, really good game. Certainly was impactful on 2 of the 3 goals. We saw Seth Jarvis come back, but we need more from Sebastian Aho and Andrei Svechnikov. They have to get more from those 2 players. And while I think they've both played well, it's primarily been on one end of the rink. They need more offensively from those 2 guys. Yeah, Aho has 3 goals. 2 of them are empty net goals. Those are not insignificant. They helped you win. The other one was the goal that was essentially a shorthanded goal and a great pass from Jordan Stahl 1 second after, I think it was Sean Walker came out of the penalty box in Game 2. But they need more from Aho. And they also, more than anything, they need chance generation from those guys. Now, there wasn't a ton. I was looking at it on Natural Stat Trick. Aho, Svechnikov, and Jarvis. I'm going to ask Max to guess this number. How much were they on the ice together? Now, granted, halfway through the 3rd period, Jarvis was moved off the line. It's still not that big a number, right? How much 5-on-5 time did the top line get together in game number 2?
Well,
do you guess?
There wasn't that much 5-on-5 time in general. I'll say 6 minutes.
About 5:40. 5 minutes and 40 seconds of. So it wouldn't have been significantly more had Jarvis stayed on the line because he scored the goal beyond the midway point of the 3rd period. So maybe there's 3 more shifts, right? The rest of the way, maybe 4 if you're pushing. So we're talking about maybe they would have gotten 7 minutes, 7.5 minutes of 5-on-5 time because there wasn't a lot of 5-on-5 time. There was a ton because Stankov and Blake and Hall do not feature in the penalty kill. So there was a ton of 5-on-5 time for them, right? But also, take away all that stuff, those guys have dominated play at 5-on-5. So it stands to reason that they have been more effective. But if Carolina is going to go far in the playoffs, because at some point the penalties are going to dry up, that will stop. They will stop calling everything. Aho, Svechnikov, and Jarvis must get better at 5-on-5. Now, Rod was asked yesterday about the potential of leaving certain things as they ended, and he did not close the door on that. So if we start in Philadelphia tomorrow night, and Carolina sends out Stahl, Ehlers, and Jarvis to start the game, I wouldn't be all that surprised to see Martinook play with Svechnikov and Aho. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. I don't know that we saw great from Aho, Svechnikov, and Martinook, but I wouldn't be surprised. All right, now quickly.
Well, for what it's worth, at practice today, the lines were back to
normal. Yeah, but I assume they would be back to normal for today's practice. But that doesn't mean that Rod wouldn't do that. He is not afraid to change. For the first time in a long time, I think Rod Brindamore really liked the lines that had developed over the course of the year, which is why there were no changes for like 3 months. We've never seen that. Rod always changes his lines around. It's almost like a running joke. But I think he really settled into combinations that he liked. But look, I think obviously Carolina is playing well, but they will need to play better if they want to beat either Montreal or Buffalo. And really, to eliminate Philadelphia. I don't know if Owen Tippett is going to play tonight or tomorrow night or not. But Owen Tippett is a very good player. A very good player. Let me get to PK Subban, who was on with Pat McAfee. It was on during the show. I couldn't listen to it, but I found it and emailed it to myself to listen to it because it's funny. It's not a big deal. It really isn't a big deal. But going into overtime, I had the ESPN broadcast on, and they were coming out of the break, and they were making their picks for the who's going to score the overtime goal. All three in the studio picked Flyers. If they picked Hurricanes, I missed it. But all three picked Flyers. Fine. It really doesn't matter. It's comedy at this point. Subban who I remember last year picked the Devils to beat Carolina in round number 1, was asked by Pat McAfee about the notion that, hey, this Hurricanes team might be for real.
Can you tell me about the Canes a little bit more from a hockey perspective on why they are what they are right now? And are they legit? Are the Canes going to win Lordo out here?
I'm so happy you're asking me about the Canes because Canes fans absolutely can't stand me. I've never picked the Canes to win a series, I think, in the past 4 or 5 years. I can't even step into Raleigh right now, I don't think. But I will say this, they've always been a competitive team. They've always been in the mix. The reason why I haven't picked them is because you got to show me, and they are showing me right now. The acquisition of Taylor Hall and some of the other veterans on that team, you think of Stankoven and how hot he's been. Ehlers coming over. They retooled the defense, picking up K-Andre Miller, who just eats, he's playing the best hockey I've seen him play since probably his first year with the Rangers, right? The way he's skating. So I got to give Rod Brindamore credit. But he gets a lot of credit, as he should, because he's been a phenomenal coach. He's been a top coach in the league. So he's squeezing the juice out of these guys. But I have to give Carolina credit. They have been dominant since the start of the playoffs. Now, the competition's going to get tougher. Philly.
He's talking about the competition getting tougher, and it will get tougher than Philadelphia and Ottawa. And that's where Carolina's got to raise their game. I just want to go back to something. I haven't picked them because you have to show me you can do it. PK, they have gotten to the conference finals 2 out of the last 3 years. They have won at least one round of the playoffs every year in the last 8. Nobody is asking you to pick them to win the Stanley Cup, but you've not picked them to win a single round. So I think you might be. Look, it's okay to not have faith. It's all right. But it's just, I find it hysterical. It's one of those things. And look, I have no problem with PK Subban. There is a comedic flair, I think, with PK that I think we should all embrace. I'll tell you who does respect the Carolina Hurricanes. Andrei Vasilevsky. So you may recall when the Lightning lost to the Canadiens in Game 7. And John Cooper in the press conference, very thoughtful guy, I love Coop, was talking about the hockey gods and, we dominate over, and they did.
You can win the game, but not the score.
Right. All of those things that, I get why you're saying it. And I watched that game, and Tampa was the better team. But if you don't make it count, we see it with Carolina. And we all say it. If it doesn't stick, if you don't produce a goal or two to win the game, you leave it to chance. And Montreal got a kind of a goofy goal in the third period, and they saw the game out. Tampa couldn't get past it. And Cooper was talking about being unlucky. 4 straight years they've lost in the first round of the playoffs, by the way, with that team. And Andrei Vasilevsky, who met the media yesterday, or it might have been 2 days, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, Andrei was not feeling the same way that John Cooper did.
I feel like that's our excuse the last few years. Hockey guys, bad bounces. Yeah, bad bounces for sure. That's, at the end of the day, like a broken record over and over again. So, we have to man out there. And yeah, our big players should be our best players in the ice, and again, just a part of the journey. So we'll have to work through it, and at some point it'll turn around. I hope.
Guys, you think you guys can put yourself in a better position to get those bounces? Does it feel like there's maybe more that you guys can control instead of just leaving it up to, it just didn't go our way kind of thing?
We just have to work through it. You look at Carolina, they're so consistent throughout the years.
Right.
And they just work great, on the ice, all 60 minutes. So, but we do just complain about ice quality at home.
All right, we can stop it there. First of all, Vasilevsky talking about that's been our excuse the last 4 years. Broken record. Best players have to play better. Right? I mean, he might be just at Nikita Kucherov, who has 0 points ever in a Game 7. That's kind of wild to me. But then, after a question, how do you put yourself in a better position, he talked about Carolina. And why are they so good? Because they are consistently working for 60 minutes. And we criticize certain games where we don't play a good second period or whatnot, but the other team tries too. But for the most part, I think all Hurricanes fans think the same thing about this particular team. Rarely are they not the harder working team. And that's what Andrei Vasilevsky admires about this team. And when I heard that, I'm like, is Vasilevsky lobbying? Because I think we can find a spot if 88 wants to come. What do you think, Max?
If he wants to come, we got a spot for him. We got a locker for you, buddy.
I mean, you can compete with Brandon Bussey next year for a spot.
Piotr.
And Piotr. Might take one of them to get Vasilevsky. It might take Kochetkov to get Vas. I'm just saying. But if Andre wanted to play here, I think we'd be okay with it. I mean, he's only 32, right? I think we'd deal with Vas. Look, I'm joking around. The truth is that a lot of the things that some people knock Carolina for, players admire. The hard work, man. The attention to detail. All right, we're going to take a break. Trey Wingo is going to join us on the other side. We'll talk about Bryson DeChambeau's recent comments about the PGA Tour and Live Golf and what he wants. And the PGA Tour should be begging him to come back. He didn't say that. Somebody else did. Also, which NFL team helped themselves the most? Trey Wingo next.
Still arguing whether hockey or golf has the tougher dress code? The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
One goal.
Nikishin, Ehlers, shoots his scores! Oh, the power play! Verdeen wide open, rebound, and what a save by Anderson!
Hoist Lord Stanley's Cup.
Sebastian Aho in, short hit back in, scores! Oh, talk to me, shorty! Carolina!
The Triangle's official home for the Carolina Hurricanes. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
I may not be on the show today, but that's because it's one of those take a day off to check some things off the adulting list days, which is also important to remember if your motorcycle's been sitting all winter. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here for Law Tigers, and some people prefer to ride when the weather is warm and pleasant, so that just means you'll have a list to run down before safely getting back out there to ride. Just like you should have a rundown in case you're ever injured in an accident while you're on your motorcycle. If this ever happens, call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before calling your insurance company. The insurance company just wants to pay you the least amount possible, but at Law Tigers, they just celebrated 25 years in business and have helped thousands of people. And most importantly, they understand what you're going through because they're riders too. They know the value of your bike gear and the investments you've put into it. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Jungle Cashword Scratch-Offs and Digital Instance games are here.
2 ways to play.
Yeah. Play Scratch-Offs like you do.
Scratch it.
Play Digital Instance on your phone.
2 ways to win.
Right. 2 ways to find letters and complete words. 2 ways to win up to $150,000.
That's a lot of crackers.
Jungle Cashword from the North Carolina Education Lottery. 2 ways to play, 2 ways to win instantly. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds to win range from 1 in 3.79 to 3.90. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
If you're exhausted, not just tired, but worn down, this message is for you. I'm Brandon Giggling, president of Parkway sleep health centers. Across North Carolina, many people wait months, sometimes over a year, just to start sleep care. That wait isn't normal, and it isn't necessary. At Parkway, most patients are seen within weeks, with virtual consultations and home sleep studies that remove unnecessary delays. Sleep care shouldn't have to depend on how long you're willing to wait.
Parkway Sleep, your fastest path to better sleep. Start today at parkwaysleep.com. Sound sleep, sound health.
I'm a wife and the mother of 2 kids. And when I get to work in the precinct house and put on my uniform, I can tell you, as a police officer, we're building partnerships. This should be happening everywhere, so the police should be reaching out to this community, and this community should reach out to the police. That's the way to make this a safer place.
Start the conversation and help stop crime. To learn the 5 things you can do, go to ncpc.org/prevent violent crime. A message from the National Crime Prevention Council and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my run in PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
This is Adam Gold.
Soap attracts dirt, right? That's what soap does. It attracts dirt. Right now, Bill Belichick is soap. That's what he is.
Yeah.
He's soap.
Yeah.
He's attracting all this dirt.
Or he's like an overripe banana and it's attracting all these gnats.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Max Gorin is producing the program today. I do a Hurricanes podcast after every Hurricanes game, but I aspire, and we podcast this show out, the Best of the Adam Gold Show. So this conversation will be part of the Best of the Adam Gold Show, but I don't have my own network. Trey Wingo has his own podcast network. I am looking at it right now, the Wingo Network. We have Straight Facts Homie, and of course, just Trey Wingo. To me, it's because Trey talks golf more than he talks about anything else now, and he joins us on the Adam Gold Show. We're going to talk a little football here at some point. How you doing, man? Thank you so much for doing this.
Adam, always good to see you, man. Always good to chop it up with you.
All right, the live thing has been obviously front and center, and sometimes I run the risk of spending maybe too much time on it, but I'm fascinated by this whole thing. Once the Public Investment Fund announced that they were pulling funding at the end of this year, I think we all knew that not only would that tour be in serious jeopardy, we still don't know if it's ultimately going to survive. I know they're bringing in investors. It's going to be hard to do what the Public Investment Fund was willing to lose, at least at that point. But right. It's certainly going to look a lot different. And John Rahm has openly talked about, yeah, we've looked at it. I have had people looked at it. I don't think I can get out. He clearly would want to. But he did make some concessions with the European Tour. He's going to play 5 events. He's paying the fines. What do you make of that development and what it might say for the future?
Well, first of all, my good friend Andrew Brandt, who I worked with at ESPN and was executive vice president for the Packers for a few years, has a great line: deadline spur actions.
Yes.
Okay. So once the Live New Orleans event was canceled, and by the way, the hilarious announcement from Live on that was, well, due to the crowded summer schedule and the weather, it would be best not to go there. The weather was there when you decided to go there, and the World Cup was going on when you decided to go there. So come on now, let's just be honest about it. But with that event gone, there's a gaping hole in the Live golf schedule.
Yeah.
They have one event the week before the U.S. Open at Shinnecock Hills, and then they have nothing until after the Open Championship.
Yep.
So because John was the only one of the 9, by the way, trying to fight with the DP World Tour over this, the 9 players that had status on both DP World Tour and Live, he's like, no, I don't want to do this. Well, amazingly, suddenly when there was no place for him to play, because you're not going to have a chance to warm up and get ready for the Open Championship outside of playing at the U.S. Open, where, of course, he will be there as a former champion.
Yep.
He needed a place to play. And miraculously, That's when he decided to pay his fines, which will allow him to play, I think, as many as 2 or 3 times on the DP World Tour to get ready for the Open Championship. It's crazy how these things coincide.
Trey Wingo is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. It's funny. There are live apologists. I'll just use that term. It's probably not completely accurate. Who will use any perceived evidence to say, well, these guys have not had their careers injured by playing on that tour, except only Bryson DeChambeau has succeeded in majors based on having a long 4-year career in live. Brooks Koepka initially was fine. He won a major while a member of that. Everybody else has gone the other way. We haven't heard from Cam Smith since he won the Open Championship and then joined live. We haven't heard from John
I don't think
Rahm.
you ever will, by the way.
Yeah.
I think Cam is very happy. I've made his money. I'm gonna fish and live in Australia. So I think he's good with whatever is in his career, and that's good for him. That's a choice.
So, but John's a major championship impact has been absent. Now, I think John thought he was going to go to live, and then he was going to force. I think he oversold to himself his own celebrity, because I don't think anybody on that tour other than Bryson DeChambeau has any sway with viewers.
And look, you can make the argument that they really don't. Even those two don't have sway with viewers because the viewership has never been there. But if you are the PGA Tour, and if you're a golf fan, you want all the best players on the same tour.
Right.
So it on some level it behooves the PGA Tour to bring these guys back. However, it's going to be difficult because they extended the olive branch in February when Brooks came back. And, Bryson even trolled them standing next to an exit sign saying, "What should I do? Ha, 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 laugh, 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 joke, joke, joke. Should I leave or should I stay?" It's going to be difficult because Bryson has been kind of a troll for the PGA Tour. I mean, he put out his statement yesterday. He's like, well, it's not like they're doing really well. That's not going to go over with the place you want to go back. By the way, and he says it's not going really well. They have 46 of the top 50 players in the PGA Tour. They have a $1.5 billion investment from SSG that they haven't touched.
Right.
They haven't even had to touch it. And the other $1.5 billion is promised. The TV ratings are skyrocketing every week.
Yep.
So it's the idea that the PGA Tour is not doing well is bogus. And people say, well, there's going to be layoffs and there's going to be this. Yeah, in part because since the U.S. Open was last held at Shinnecock in 2018, the prize money has gone up 80%.
Yeah.
From $12.5 million to 21 plus this year. What caused that spike? Maybe it was the outside influence of a foreign government with troves of cash they didn't care whether or not they burned to see if they could get a seat at the table of golf. So when you say the PGA Tour is not doing well, actually, Bryson, it's because of the thing that you joined, the Dread Pirate Robert ship, which is just escalating and inflating things to they have no value whatsoever. So really, the PGA Tour's problems you created. So I'll give some of them credit. At least they're being honest about it now. Like Graham McDowell came out and said, "I regret saying that I was trying to grow the game. I did it from my bank account." Well, no bleep. Really? What a shocker. I did not think that was the case. That's why I've always given people honestly, Brooks, when he left, he said, look, I didn't think I could play anymore.
Right.
So I'm going to take that money. It's like a retirement clause. Richard Bland, who won one time on the DP World Tour in his mid-50s, they paid him $40 million. Sure, hell yeah, I'll take it. Harold Varner, a North Carolina
There
kid.
you go.
It's like, I'm never going to make that kind of money. Absolutely, I understand it. Jason Kokrak, same way. Just don't sell me this. We're growing the game garbage. You're growing your bank account, man. That's all that you wanted. That's what you signed up for.
Yeah, they all bought Greg Norman's, line. He thought, and Greg was carrying a vendetta for 30 years against the PGA Tour, and I totally understand. Part of me doesn't blame Greg Norman for how long, because of Tim Fincham and company. They definitely did him dirty back in the day, and I've written about that and talked about it a lot. And I used to be a huge Greg Norman fan, but look, he was just trying to stick it to them. Real quick because I do want to ask you a little bit about football, Trey Wingo.
Sure.
The path back for Rahm and DeChambeau. Now, if they take similar paths as Koepka or Patrick Reed, who is serving a 1-year suspension. Koepka did not. Koepka came back immediately in some capacity, paid a fine.
The returning player program.
Right, which they said basically disappeared like Snapchat. We'll see if they institute that for Rahm. I think it would be a good idea to do that for a Jon Rahm and for a Bryson DeChambeau. But there's going to be pushback from players if they're doing this. How do you think this ends?
Well, Brian Roloff in the Wall Street Journal article said it best. There's scar tissue from what happened. He wasn't there, but there's scar tissue from what happened. And I think every case is going to be treated differently. Quite frankly, I think they're not any really interested in bringing back more than 4, maybe 5 guys max right now. And everybody else, hey, if you can earn it, great, go for it. But here's the problem. Bryson was one of the guys that sued the PGA Tour to try and okay, that's not going to go over well. That's going to be tricky. Rahm is entwined with Liv beyond this year. Who knows? Billable hours. Lawyers are gobbling the idea of trying to get people out of these contracts. Oh, we can do this. There's a loophole because not playing 54. You signed at 54. Now they're playing 72. You're supposed to play 14 events. Now we're playing 13. There's all kinds of ways you can try and pound that thing into dust legally. But the Rahm thing is also interesting because Rahm, in his initial statement, said, "I am loyal to the PGA Tour." He said, "I pledge my fealty."
Yes.
To the PGA Tour was the quote, which is, bend a knee basically from Game of Thrones. And then a year later, they offer him $300 to $600 million, and that fealty went up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And that Jon Rahm leaving gave Liv 2 more years of life, if we're being honest about it. After the initial wave of Brooks, Bryson, DJ, and who else mentioned with the big 4 of Phil?
Yeah.
After that, they weren't getting the best players. And then Rahm gave him a shot of life. So now the PGA Tour is going to look at Bryce and it's like, okay, coming back, you sued us. You've been trolling us. This isn't going to be as easy as you think. Rahm gave Liv 2 more years to live, basically, by doing what he did after saying he pledged his fealty. It's not going to be, all is hug, hug, kiss, kiss, all is well. We got to work some bleep out in this family.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think it'll be interesting, but I think ultimately, if the PGA Tour and I think if Rory McIlroy has anything to say about it, those guys will be back because he wants the best players out there on tour. And I think ultimately,
and on the Ryder Cup.
Rahm will be fine now that his DP World Tour stuff is taken care of. He's got his path back. They had to suspend, basically say, all right, we're in litigation. So until that's cleared up, you can play. But that part will be taken care of. But to get to the tour will be fun. All right, let me get to a football thing. Patrick Mahomes' injury, end of season, probably won't be ready to start the season, although he is a physical freak. High ankle sprains never kept him out, which is remarkable. Let's just assume that he is good to go maybe the first third of the season. Are the Chiefs, in and of itself, even if Mahomes comes back at his normal level, are the Chiefs in decline anyway?
I think their window as their current iteration is closing. I mean, the thing about the Patriots window that people don't understand, it wasn't one dynasty. It was 2 separate dynasties.
Correct.
It was Super Bowls 36, 38, 39 with Teddy Bruschi and Mike Vrabel and Lawyer Malloy and, Ty Law and all these guys. And then it was David Patton and clock-killing Corey Dillon and Tom Brady on offense. Go through the shuffle. The next dynasty was Brady, Belichick, Edelman, Gronk, Amendola, Vince Wilfork, Dante Hightower, Gerard Mayo. It was a different wave. So the Chiefs, if they're going to be whatever they can be, are going to have to transition to that next era once the Travis Kelce's and the Chris Joneses are gone. I will tell you this, though. I would be shocked if Patrick Mahomes isn't ready to full go week 1. You mentioned it. The guy's just an athletic freak.
Yeah.
He recovers faster than anybody I've ever seen. And just remember, everybody's different. On Christmas Eve, December 24th, 2011, Adrian Peterson tore up his knee.
Yeah.
Next last game of the year. Brutal. It's going to be a year he's out. The next season, 2012, he came within 8 yards of setting the single-season rushing record. Some guys are just built differently.
Right.
And I think Mahomes is one of those guys, and he and his trainer, Bobby Stroop, do an amazing job. I think he'll be ready week 1. Honestly, this is going to sound crazy. The biggest question for me for Kansas City is their number 1 pick a couple years ago, Xavier Worthy.
Mm-hmm.
He's been okay.
Right.
He hasn't been great. Obviously, he was banged up a little last year and never got there. But you don't use a first-round pick on a guy that runs a 4.2 or 4.1 something unless you're going to get that speed demon down the field, and they haven't gotten him going yet. Hopefully with Rashee Rice there, and I love the receivers they picked up in the draft and in free agency. I think that if they can get Xavier Worthy to be Tyreek Hill light, I think Kansas City's in really good shape this year.
All right, one final thing for Trey Wingo. What NFL team do you think helped themselves the most in this offseason, draft, free agency included?
It's interesting. I go to two right away. Cincinnati, I think, did a nice job. The Dexter Lawrence trade. It was steep for me for an interior defensive lineman, but they were terrible last year. They needed to address that side of the ball. And Joe Burrow has said, if I'm not winning, this isn't fun. Well, you got to make Joe Burrow happy. Okay, so I like what Cincinnati did. I think the Cowboys have done a really, really good job, which is really weird to say.
Holy mackerel.
Now, assuming that George Pickens does indeed play under the tag, I think he and his agent, David Mulugeta, would probably like a trade because of the history between that agent and Jerry Jones.
Right.
But if they get George Pickens there on that one-year deal and Dak stays healthy and they've addressed some of the defensive issues, the Cowboys could be really interesting this year.
That is amazing. I agree with you. It's kind of funny to say that, but man, the Dallas Cowboys had a good draft.
They did, right? Well, they've done well drafting. If you go back and look at Will McClay since he's taken over, they just can't develop a team around the draft picks. That's their biggest issue.
That is true. And then they trade players that they shouldn't trade, and then complain. I remember when John Gruden traded. Mack?
Khalil Mack?
Mack to the Bears, and then said, man, we got to find an edge rusher somewhere. Well, you had one.
Yeah, exactly.
And you traded him. Trey Wingo.
What was wrong with him?
The Wingo Network, the podcast, Straight Facts, Homie, and all of it. I appreciate your time. Welcome back to the Contiguous 48.
Thank you, sir. Always good to catch up with you, man.
I'll talk to you soon. Trey Wingo here on the Adam Gold Show. When we return, we've got one-timers. You ask the question, I will give you the answer, and if we don't know it, we'll make it up. Go to the YouTube, search Adam Gold Show or 99.9 The Fan. While you're there, subscribe. What else can people do when they go to the YouTube, Max? I don't know how these things work.
Yeah, you can just subscribe. You can hop in the live chat, and we also post our clips from the shows afterwards. You can hop in the comments there, and then you might get on a feedback frenzy on the drive as well. They always like to respond to those comments. So
feedback
make your
frenzy.
voice heard, and make sure you like everything too. Make sure you hit that like button when you subscribe as well.
Feedback frenzy? That sounds fun. It's also alliterative.
We'll have to do one on this show. Maybe later this week.
A feedback frenzy. All right. Well, one-timers is next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Do we have a deal for new customers right now? Bet $5, win that bet, get $150 in bonus bets. That's right. Pick something you can win and then take FanDuel's money and then win even more. Turn 5 into $150 just for getting started. FanDuel makes it easy to get closer to the action, player props on your favorite stars, all the tools you need to back them up. All you got to do, go to FanDuel.com/local to get started. FanDuel for the NBA, especially in the playoffs. FanDuel, play your game. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Measles is spreading in North Carolina. It's highly contagious and can make infants and children very sick. Pneumonia, brain swelling, long-term health problems, hospitalization, and death can occur. Protect your child with the MMR vaccine. It provides lifelong protection. Serious side effects are extremely rare. Millions of children are safely vaccinated each year. Insurance covers the cost and free vaccines are available. Make sure your child is up to date. Talk to your doctor or visit ncdhhs.gov/measles. Paid for by NCDHHS.
You don't build a tradition overnight. You earn it.
The Coca-Cola 600's underway.
This is a crown jewel race. It's a 600-mile salute to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice.
It's do what we love because of the sacrifices that were made by our military heroes.
If you win this one,
you'll carry it with you forever. It's NASCAR's toughest test of man and machine.
It's the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway on Memorial Day weekend.
Everyone needs to take care of their mental health, even running back Bijan Robinson.
When I'm on the field and feeling the pressure, I usually just take a deep breath. When I'm just breathing and seeing what's in front of me, everything just slows down. It just makes me feel great before I run the play.
Just like Bijan, we all need a strong mental game on and off the field. Make a game plan for your mental health at loveyourmindplaybook.org.
Love your mind.
Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation, the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation, and the Ad Council.
From the food we eat to the clothes we wear, agriculture touches every corner of our daily lives. I'm Lee Ivey, director of the Agriculture Institute at NC State University. With the world's population growing, we need people equipped and trained to meet the needs of our future. In our program, we rise to meet that challenge every day, and our students are engaged and invested. Invest in yourself and learn more about our program online by searching NC State Ag Institute. Deadline for fall enrollment is June 1st. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
AmeriHealth Caritas North Carolina is with you on your health journey and helping you over life's bumps in the road. We're a Medicaid managed care plan with extra benefits like adult vision care and weight loss memberships. Plus, earn rewards for healthy activities on our care card. We make care the heart of our work. Let's go. Visit AmeriHealth Caritas North Carolina at AmeriHealthCaritasNC.com or call 1-855-375-8811.
If you want the nation's best auto insurer, look no further than North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Rated #1 in Crash Network's Insurer Report Card 7 years in a row, we're the only insurer in the nation to receive an A+ rating from auto body shops. Our philosophy is simple: be fair, be quick, be the best. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
This is Adam Gold.
Well, if I'm watching the Panthers game and it's going real bad, many times it does.
I punish them by not watching
I'm
them.
a disappointed mother.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? So, yeah, I realize it's not going to change the game, but it makes me feel better. And,
There were other factors at play there, but for the most part, I punish them. I will not watch you.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Max Gorin on the ones and twos. I almost called you Max Homa. I have Max Homa on the brain. He's in the PGA Championship coming up at Aronimink because Phil Mickelson is still out with family health issues. He's fully exempt to the PGA Championship. As a past champ, he can play forever. Or actually, I think you can play until you're like 60. But he's not playing, so Max Homa gets the spot.
Hey, that's kind of sooner rather than later for him. He's, 55 now, 56?
Won the PGA at Kiowa at age 51, right? 51 or 52.
Yeah, that was 2021, so he's
yeah.
Had he just turned 51 or he was about to turn 52?
Something like that.
I think it was right after his birthday.
The thing about Phil, he can still summon things when he's healthy.
Yeah, he had that T2 at the Masters in 23.
He can still summon. The talent is ridiculous. Always has been. He actually might have been more physically gifted a player than Tiger Woods. His physical gifts might have been better than Tiger Woods. That's how amazing a player he was. And again, we're talking about somebody who didn't win a major until he was his late 30s and still won 6. It's remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. One-timers.
All right, there's a couple from our YouTube chat here. Remember, search 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. Have your voice heard in the chat, and you can drop your one-timers for the show tomorrow. But for today, we'll start with one from Craig. If Carolina wins the Cup, will we see the national media start to warm up on the Canes, or will they double down and apply an asterisk saying it doesn't count until we do it through Florida?
Through Florida. The answer is twofold. The first part of it is, like, the national, it's really, I think, more about ESPN than anything else. But I wish we weren't so all aggrieved by it. I mean, I find it funny, but I'm not aggrieved by it. But I do think that there will be an element that, well, we'll see what happens when Florida comes back. And all you can say is, yeah, we'll see. I mean, what else are you going to say? Florida wasn't whole this year. They missed the playoffs. Shows you how hard it is, by the way. It's just incredibly difficult.
Hardest trophy to win in sports.
Yep.
This is from Conebread. What do you think of Aho this run so far? Offensively, he has been slower than usual, but his defense has been solid to great.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing he's good defensively. Otherwise, it would have been a very bad first 6 games for him because he has not been an offensive weapon. But the defensive side of the puck matters, and if you look within games, part of the penalty kill, he had several great defensive plays that kind of erased scoring chances in Game 2. So, yeah, it's a good thing there's that side of the puck for him. But obviously, if Carolina's going to win a Stanley Cup, Sebastian Aho can't be an offensive passenger. He's got to be a catalyst. So, same thing with Andrei Svechnikov. Those two guys must be able to make an impact on the other side of the puck. And right now, it's just been defense.
All right, one more here. This is from Jess. I've seen a lot of takes by Flyers fans. The OT goal should have been disallowed due to goaltender interference. Do you think it was goaltender interference?
We will address this fully on the other side. It's already in the queue to be used just after the 1 o'clock break. I will say this. The answer is it was reviewed, and it was deemed not goaltender interference. But we will discuss it using audio from the Fanatic in Philadelphia next.
Because your fantasy football team needs all the help it can get, the Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. Join me and my co-host Chris Lee from WREL TV as our podcast Panthers Playbook rolls on this offseason, presented by Wake Orthopedics. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Carolina Panthers news as we break down the NFL draft, insights on free agents and prospects, plus all the inside information on the offseason. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
Join us at Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, our biggest trade event of the year, May 14th through the 17th. Trade in your RV and get the highest value guaranteed. Then upgrade for less with new RVs starting as low as $94 a month. Plus, take 25% off select maintenance services. Save up to 40% on camp-ready must-haves. And enter to win a new RV. Don't miss the Red, White, and New Trade event at your local Camping World, May 14th through the 17th. We'll see you there.
Credit card interest rates are now over 29%, and most people are only making the minimum payments, so they're getting nowhere. Hey, it's Dennis Cox for Loan Pronto, but here's what many homeowners don't realize. Using the equity in your home, you can easily access hundreds of thousands in cash. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can pay off your credit cards, your existing HELOC, your car loans, or get money for that home improvement project. One client just got $100,000 approved and saved over $1,500 a month. And here's the best part. With Loan Pronto, you can do it all from your phone with zero out-of-pocket, no hard credit pull up front, no appraisal, no long drawn-out bank process, and no touching your first mortgage. Rates are at near 3-year lows. Act now. Go to loanpronto.com. See how much you can get in about 60 seconds. Loan Pronto, 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166171, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's bow time. There's something special about the first bite of a Bojangles Cajun filet biscuit. Like an edible alarm clock that slaps you awake with bold Cajun flavor. The moment you sink your teeth into that soft, fluffy, made-from-scratch biscuit, then strike gold with a juicy piece of fried chicken, you'll know. Nothing beats the first bite. Except the second first bite. Get a Cajun filet biscuit combo today at Bojangles. It's bow time.
Bojangles is now hiring crew and management positions. Apply in person at select Triangle area Bojangles during the spring hiring day, Thursday, May 7th from noon until 6 p.m. For participating locations and more information, visit bojanglesrdu.com/hiring day. Bojangles offers flexible schedules and competitive wages. Be part of a winning team. Start a career with Bojangles. It's Bo time.
Stay informed with The Rundown, the daily newsletter from High School OT that delivers high school sports news and insights straight to your inbox. Brought to you by High School OT and powered by our sponsors Blake Orthopedics, First Carolina Bank, and Smith Douglas Homes. Subscribe to The Rundown at highschoolot.com.
I'm U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. We all seem to be in a rush these days, from work to driving our kids around. But when you're behind the wheel, please do not speed. A few minutes saved by going faster is never worth the risk. So follow the speed limit, enjoy the drive, maybe bring some snacks for the kids, and know that along the way, you're getting quality time with your family.
Paid for by NHTSA.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Sixers go back in front by one. Brunson lights the candle from three and knocks home another. He is red hot down the stretch of the first quarter. 14 for Brunson on 6 of 7 shooting. Jalen Brunson had 35 points through 3 quarters. It's still going to be the biggest home playoff win in Knicks history, and they take game 1 of this Eastern Conference second-round series. The Knicks blister the Philadelphia 76ers, 137-98 the final score.
See Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Oklahoma City covered the 15.5 last night. Yeah. Could be the final 4 games for LeBron James in a Lakers uniform. We talked to Kanata Edwards yesterday about the potential that could be it for LeBron as a Laker. I'm not really sure there's a good logical, natural landing spot for him other than why wouldn't he stay in LA? I mean, the notion that LeBron couldn't adapt to a sidekick role with Luka, I don't know, maybe that puts too much pressure on Luka Doncic. Think about that. If you're Luka, wouldn't you rather have LeBron with you than not?
I think I'd rather have LeBron on my team whenever possible.
If I were Luka Doncic, I mean, he's certainly like he's not the same defensive player he used to be, but he can certainly pick his spots in the fourth quarter. Can't guard, point guards like he used to as a younger player. But, man, I would just think that LeBron would be beneficial. Now, he's not going to work for free. So that's a pretty expensive side piece to have if you are Doncic. But I don't know, man. If I were the Lakers and LeBron was available, I'd keep him around. I'd do what I could to keep him around. Lots to do. Chip Patterson's going to join us in the other, about 15 or so minutes. He's a big Hurricanes fan, so we have to mention it with him as well. But I am curious. I read a story about how Dabo Swinney and Clemson, they're embracing the player development route and having an underdog mentality. I am curious what the immediate future is of Clemson Tiger football. Real quick, before we get to our second look at the news of the day. The Atlantic Coast Conference, in many ways, has been hurt by its flagship football programs taking a nosedive. And there's no reason, there wasn't a financial reason for it. It was a leadership problem. It was a hiring problem. So just about the time where the money was exploding in college football, to the point where, by the way, if you haven't heard the news today, the Big Ten is distributing over $76 million on average for its 18 different members. The gap between what the Big Ten earned and the SEC earned, who only has 16 teams, is about roughly $350 million. I said this a long time ago. The Big Ten is the wealthiest conference. SEC might have the best football, even though the Big Ten has won the last 3 national championships, Michigan, Ohio State, and now Indiana. But the SEC still plays the best football. The Big Ten has the most money, and it ain't close. It is not close at all. They're also involved with many networks. The SEC went the ACC route. Everything's with ESPN and ABC. Everything's with Disney. Meanwhile, the Big Ten's got CBS, Fox, NBC. They're on 3 major networks. That's the way to go. You're spreading it around. You're getting more money. On top of that, they have the network is the most successful of all of the dedicated conference networks. The Big Ten network has just been amazing for them. But they also have the biggest alumni base. The sizes of the university, massive. So there are a lot of built-in advantages for the Big Ten, and financially they are distributing a ton of money. But anyway, we'll talk to Chip about that, about Clemson and their immediate future when we talk to Chip in a little bit more than 10 minutes. Right now, take 2. All right, so the question came in one-timers. Should it have been goaltender interference? Well, yesterday, Ricky Bowe and Bill Colarulo, I'd never heard of them, but they're hosts on 97.5 The Fan in Philly. I think it's called The Fanatic, I think. Anyway, they say it was clear goalie interference.
Because the more I look at that replay, that goal should not have been allowed. You clearly can see a Hurricanes player take his stick, he slashes Dan Vladar's glove hand, and then presses down, and the stick is pushing down on Vladar's glove hand, and then the puck goes in the net. I didn't think about it last night. And I thought when I came in, maybe it was just people being homers saying, oh, it was interference. It was interference.
There was something about like, when you put the stick on top of the glove, you're intentionally doing this. Like, it was almost like a slash. Like, he slashed it out of the glove, and quite frankly, it comes out of the glove and goes right into the another stick and in.
According to the rule, it would have been automatically reviewed, and if it impaired the goalkeeper's ability to move freely, then it's interference. The stick not only slashes his glove, it presses down, and you can see Vladar can't move his arm. It's right out of the rule book. Not to make Flyers fans even angrier today, because you outplayed him in overtime. That goal should not have been allowed. And I want to hear from Flyers fans on this. Are we crazy? Because the more I look at that replay, that goal should not have been allowed.
All right. Lot to unpack there. First of all, they're wrong. The goal was reviewed, and it was allowed. And it should have been allowed because everything happened outside the crease. And it was a loose puck. It was a loose puck that never got to the glove anyway. It wasn't like it was in Vladar's glove and whatever Sean Walker's stick did was contributed to the puck coming out of the glove. The puck never got to the glove. Jackson Blake kept the play alive by deflecting the puck away. It falls to Taylor Hall, who shovels it past Vladar and Travis Sanheim and in. So good goal 100% of the time, and it was reviewed. If you were in the building like me, you went, why is everybody hanging around? Forget about the Flyers hanging around. The officials were hanging around. Normally, the officials, if there's no question, they're gone. But no, they were still on the ice, so they were waiting for confirmation from the league that the goal was good. In overtime, there are no challenges. Everything is reviewed by the situation room, if you will. Now, did Walker's stick press down on Vladar's glove arm? Yes, but he had help from Flyer defenders. So these things do not happen in a vacuum. There have been plenty of situations where, in fact, in Carolina playoff games, where plays otherwise would have been goaltender interference, where Carolina been like, it looks like Brett Pesce might have done that, and then whatever. You have help. Walker did not, hey, let me impede Dan Vladar here. Stick on the arm. Let me hold it here. Nah, man, he was under duress from behind by Cam York, and Sanheim, who was on the other side of the net by this point. Also, Denver Barkey was involved in that sequence. The league was never bailing you out of your own problem, and it was a good goal.
Wow. Some Hurricanes-related news. The Selke finalists just dropped, and there are no Hurricanes in the top three.
Yeah. Who are the three, by the way? I'm gonna Nick Suzuki, yes. Anze Kopitar, yes.
Kopitar is not one of the
Really?
top three.
I thought it would be a career achievement award.
Suzuki is there, Brock Nelson, and Anthony Cirelli.
Suzuki is your winner.
Yeah.
There.
He's a
Phenomenal.
somewhat defensive-minded center that also had 90-something points.
Phenomenal. He's a great player. I love Nick Suzuki. All right. I said this when they listed out the award schedule, okay? There would be no Hurricanes nominated for any of them, which is remarkable since they had the second best record in the sport. You would have thought maybe the head coach? No. 0 Hurricanes nominated for any award. We haven't seen Lady Bing yet, right? I believe Lady Bing is coming up. We haven't seen Lady Bing. Outside chance, but the best chance of that would have been Slavin, and Slavin only played half a year. So my guess is 0 Hurricanes will be nominated for awards. Get used to it. We haven't had any nominated for anything other than like a stray Calder here and there. That's it. It's not something that happens here. And Jordan Stahl scoring 20 goals, no matter how good he was never going to be part of it. And it is what it is. All right, I want to talk more hockey in a little bit, but a little bit about the NBA. Vinny Goodwill, ESPN, covers the league. Lakers lose by 18 last night, and he thinks this is going to be quick.
At risk of upsetting Laker Nation, cooked. Maybe LeBron gets them a game, but think about how great of a game LeBron had last night. He got off early, and I think he's like 11 of 16 from the field. He got some pick sixes. He did all the big and little things, and they got beat by damn near 20. That's best case scenario. Austin Reese was 3 of 16. Luka Doncic doesn't appear to be coming back anytime soon. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had one of his worst games in the playoffs in the past 3 years, and they almost won by 20.
It's too bad. I think we'd all love to see LeBron just play more, but nah.
It's an untimely injury for Luka right before the playoffs to go down. And even if they had him, honestly, it's not easy. This Thunder team, I mean, they are set up for long-term success.
Yeah, especially if you get within 5 feet of Shai. It's a foul. I mean, you can't get close to him without it being a foul. No chance. One more thing. Brian Windhorst from ESPN on the invincible Knicks.
Well, they're on a generational offensive run here. If they continue to execute at this level, not only with their actual, togetherness and plays, but just their shot making, I don't know if anybody's going to touch them. Jalen Brunson has shot 63% over the last 3 games. Karl Towns has 4 consecutive games where he's had 6 or more assists. A couple of them he's been in the double digits. Nobody's talking about OG Anunoby. Do you know what OG Anunoby's stats are in this postseason so far in 7 games, Greeny? How about 21 points on 64% shooting, 60% from three-point range? This is a killer offensive machine right now. It will not last at this level, but Philly's going to have to really pull him back to be able to get for the next 6.
It's going to be hard for Philly to do that because Joel Embiid is out for the game tonight as well.
Yeah. The Knicks are going to beat the Sixers. The Sixers are not that good. So the Knicks' offensive run will last long enough to beat the Sixers. And honestly, they might be able to beat the Pistons. I don't think the Cavs are beating the Pistons. If you want to guarantee that you will not get to the NBA Finals, trade for James Harden. I mean, find the lie. So I think the Knicks have a chance to get to the NBA Finals, but they're going to get run by Oklahoma City when they get there. Or they'll get run by, San Antonio if the Spurs or Minnesota. Minnesota's fun. They're scrappy. They are. And Anthony Edwards is not whole, and they're managing to do this. All right, let's take a break. Chip Patterson's going to join us on the other side. We'll talk a little bit about Big Ten money, the future for Clemson football, and I am curious, who are the best quarterbacks in college football coming up? Next.
Delivering more hits than the Canes forecheck.
Shoot, he scores!
The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
In the transfer portal world of college basketball, every answer asks another question. NC State gets a point guard, but he's 6'1". They need more size. Carolina gets a new coach, but he's got NBA experience. Will the college kids listen to him? Even Duke needs a little bit of size and goes to a Belmont transfer. Everybody still has questions.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. You know what I like to do? I like to bet with FanDuel's money. So whenever I can get bonus bets from FanDuel, I am all over it. New customers right now, here's how you get $150 of FanDuel's money in bonus bets. If your first $5 bet wins, boom, $150 of their money comes your way, and now you can really take advantage of them. FanDuel makes it easier to get closer to the action. All you got to do is go to FanDuel.com/local. FanDuel.com/local. FanDuel, official partner of the NBA. Play your game. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
This is the sound of Claire, cooking dinner at home. And that's the sound of a fraud alert from Wells Fargo, flagging a charge for a pricey restaurant in Paris. Considering Claire isn't in Paris right now, that seemed odd to the bank and to Claire. 2 taps later, Claire says nope to the charge, and Wells Fargo is on the case. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Jungle Cashword Scratch-Offs and Digital Instance games are here.
2 ways to play.
Yeah. Play Scratch-Offs like you do.
Scratch it.
Play Digital Instance on your phone.
2 ways to win.
Right. 2 ways to find letters and complete words. 2 ways to win up to $150,000.
That's a lot of crackers.
Jungle Cashword from the North Carolina Education Lottery. 2 ways to play, 2 ways to win instantly. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds to win range from 1 in 3.79 to 3.90. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
WRAL News at 6 is coverage you can count on. Get the biggest stories of the day and breaking news as it happens.
Plus, complete weather coverage of your town.
WRAL has everything you need when you need it, including this special report.
She signed up for a program meant to help manage her Duke energy bill.
I'm living like a vampire. No lights on in my house.
How an energy budget plan left one woman paying more, and the steps we took to keep the lights on. Tomorrow at 6.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to Markdowns for Miles at AutoZone.
Thanks. Is oil marked down?
Save up to $15 when you buy 5 quarts and a filter.
And fuel treatment?
2 for $9 on Lucas.
Brake pads?
Marked down to free.
Free?
Get free Duralast brake pads when you buy 2 Duralast rotors.
That's several markdowns.
For many more miles.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
One Adam.
Gold.
One Adam.
Gold.
Turtle cake? Like, what are we... What?
Isn't that an ice cream?
What? Where's the confetti cake? Because, hello, confetti cake, delicious. With the little, I don't even know if it's real, but the little dots in the icing, like...
None of these are real.
What kind of fake thing that is, but it's delicious. It's my childhood. Like, that wasn't in the top 10. His opinion's invalid to me.
The Adam Gold Show.
It is that time. It is a Wednesday. It's the best time of the week. Chip Patterson time here on the Adam Gold Show, Cover 3 podcast, moderator, man about town. I have like a glut of things I want to talk about. This is my time to not talk about the Carolina Hurricanes, but because it is the season, are you as jazzed about everything we have seen so far through 6 games?
The feeling that I'm getting is that the great criticism of the Carolina Hurricanes in this Eastern Conference, because as I've told you many, many times, I've got no clue what happens out west. Might as well be another league. I don't stay up that late. I'm a Carolina Hurricanes-focused hockey fan. But, you know, we've talked a lot about, like, all the new opponents, right?
Yeah.
And the great criticism was that the depth that was a strength in the regular season doesn't help you in the playoffs. Well, here's the thing. If you drag the Hurricanes into overtime, look who all of a sudden has all this depth. Look who has all this speed. You know, like deep in the first overtime, obviously in the win in Game 2, or in the second overtime in the Senators going back to Game 2 of the first round series.
Yep.
Being able to have your Eric Robinsons, being able to have, you know, your Carriers, being able to have, I mean, Sean Walker, obviously, on the game-winning goal, just absolutely tremendous. Just the depth that the Carolina Hurricanes have, you know, the joke of why don't you make the whole plane out of the black box? Why don't you make the whole team out of fourth line forwards? Like, I think that it's working against teams like a Philadelphia, against teams like Ottawa that are still building because they cannot match that depth, and the Hurricanes wear them down. It's awfully exciting to see what was perceived as a playoff weakness seem to be a playoff strength so far through these first couple games.
Now we just need Sebastian Aho and Andrei Svechnikov to enter the chat. It was good to see Seth Jarvis score a goal. All right, here's where we're going to start. I wasn't going to start with Clemson, but I need to. I don't know why. Maybe it's because Dabo is talking about player development and all that, and we like being under the radar. I think it is worth pointing out that for 12 years, from 2011 through 2022, I think this math is correct, 142 wins, 24 losses, 2 national championships, 2 other appearances in the title game. That's as good a run as you're going to find out away from the Alabamas or Oklahomas or Southern Cals of the world. I mean, just an unbelievable run. Recruiting hasn't been as good, but they put 9 guys in the NFL draft. What was last year, and what does the future look like for Dabo Swinney?
Last year was underperformance, without a doubt. Last year was a lack of connectivity, a lack of cohesiveness between the coaches, between the players and the coaches, and maybe even within the players themselves. You know, I think about a guy like T.J. Parker. You've got guys that are getting selected in the NFL, but you've got players who flashed early in their Clemson careers who did not have as strong a season in 2025. That, to me, has me go back to some of the, you know, cohesion, connectivity, you know, how it isn't always going to be perfect. the idea that this Clemson culture, the magic of the big slide in the player facility, like it wasn't always going to be awesome forever. And what Nick Saban, the gold standard of the 21st century in college football, what Nick Saban saw was there were seasons and there were dips, and a lot of it did come from some of the changes on the coaching staff, from certain recruiting classes that hit or did not hit. Because after he had, your Jerry Jeudy, Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, Henry Ruggs, there were also a long line of wide receivers who came after them. Ajay Hall might be one that comes to mind. JoJo Earl, for any Alabama fans listening on this great, unprecedented statewide platform. Four-star, five-star prospects who committed to Alabama thinking that they were going to be the next Jerry Jeudy or Devonta Smith. And it just never panned out. And what I think happened at Clemson is that after they won 6 straight ACC titles with 6 straight college football playoff appearances, 4 appearances in the national championship game, and 2 wins in the title game against Alabama, as you just detailed, you add on the 2022 ACC championship as well if you wanted to. But I see a lot of players over the last half decade who signed up to go to Clemson thinking they were going to be the next Dexter Lawrence, thinking they were going to be the next Christian Wilkins, the next Isaiah Simmons, or the next Deshaun Watson, right? Or the next Trevor Lawrence or Trevor Etienne. Like it just didn't happen. So I have to do a little column A, a little column B. I'll put some at the feet of the coaching turnover, and I'll put some of it just on, not every 4-star and 5-star is made the same.
Right.
A couple misses on recruiting, a couple misses on coaching hires, and now you've very quickly gone back to being sort of a pre-dynasty level Clemson.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that if we go back in time, and Clemson might love football, but their pedigree, their history was not one of national power. Their history was good, solid regional team, because it's not like they dominated Atlantic Coast Conference football in the 60s, 70s, 80s. I mean, they were good, but they weren't a dominant team by any stretch of the imagination. You could argue there really wasn't a dominant ACC team at that time. Heck, I don't think they were better than Maryland back in the early, mid into the late 80s. So, I mean, what Dabo Swinney helped engineer was a program that really, to borrow the phrase, outkicked its coverage, right? I mean, they were well beyond what they had ever really been on a consistent basis. Could they get back to it with maybe somebody who was more forward thinking? Because Dabo is really, I think he's old school to a fault.
No, I do not think that Clemson will return to their peak. And I want to mention this on 2 levels. Because at first it's even regionally. Because we remember that monster that we were talking about, we mentioned all those. There was just a week-to-week dominance that was out of control.
Right.
Just the margin of victory that peak Clemson had against ACC opponents was belittling.
It was Florida State-like.
It was just, yes. It was very, very similar to Florida State at the peak of its powers, where you just held on tight and hoped you could make it a game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it took the flukiest of flukes, whether it was a missed kick for NC State or a made kick for Pitt, right? I mean, It was just the smallest of margins for anybody to even have a chance at taking down the Tigers at their peak. And college football is just not like that. Not the way that rosters are constructed, not with the transfer portal activity the way it is, the way we've said that on the Cover 3 podcast at the national level, that you just don't have Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State like you used to, because they cannot hoard and stack talent to create an advantage against the rest of the best teams in the country. And the same is true for Clemson, where they can't hoard and stack talent compared to the level of talent that's in the rest of the ACC. The middle class has gotten better across all of college football, and the margins have gotten smaller for the teams that we consider contenders. So even at the ACC level, I do not think that we can see Clemson get back to it with even, if you were to say with a more forward-thinking coach. And then at the national level, this is where Dabo Swinney is right. It is not the same money machine that they have in Clemson, South Carolina as they do at Notre Dame.
Right.
It is not the same money machine that they have at Indiana or the same money machine that they have at Michigan. And so now that the barrier for entry, the cost of admission, the initiation fees, if you're country club minded, it's just a lot higher if you want to play at the very top. Now, I will say the example in seed, not in investment, but in seed of what the Miami Hurricanes did, going from a 10 seed, winning on the road at Texas A&M, taking down Ohio State in the quarterfinals, outlasting Ole Miss, and then getting a crack at the eventual national champions. Is there a path like that for the Clemson Tigers? Absolutely. The Clemson Tigers could win the ACC. The Clemson Tigers could make it into the playoffs, but they would find themselves doing so in the same position that they did at the beginning of their run as an absolute underdog.
Right.
They would just have to put it together. And so I do think that Clemson could still get back into the position of having a seat at the table. But part of that is that having a seat at the table might only require, being a top 10, top 12, top 15 level team, which is absolutely something that Clemson can still do with its level of investment, which still is going to be way higher than most of the ACC programs.
Right. So let me spin money forward with Chip Patterson here, Cover 3 podcast moderator, every Wednesday here on the Adam Gold Show. Most Reese, I saw the story at that fabulous website, CBSSports.com. Big Ten distributing an average of $76.1 million per school. I think we all assume that number will go up over the next several years pretty dramatically. But right now, 76.1 distributed on average. Now, it's not distributed evenly because at least Washington and Oregon aren't getting full shares. I don't know about USC and UCLA, but that's still – that is a massive number, even with the ACC's new, uneven distribution model. My guess is the top team probably isn't within 20 million of the Big Ten average. Obviously, it gives you a lot of advantages. What's your reaction to that number?
Money's not real.
That seems real.
I know, but it's just well, how much? Excuse me?
Yeah.
And then, then you start to talk about the budgets, and then you start to talk about all the different ways it can be spent. The fact that, even with those massive distributions from the conference, you still have NIL operations that are adding tens of millions of dollars to the
that
picture
doesn't really
every
go
single
to
year.
That number's not really going to go to NIL and rev share, right? I mean, some of it is.
Right. That's why it's almost like money's not. When I say money's not real, I can't look at $76 million and think that's going to lead to the Big Ten getting better players, because the Big Ten is getting better players because of all the money that exists outside of the $76 million. The $76 million is how you're able to continue to fund at a high level all this other stuff that is also happening operationally within this massive this massive company. I mean, let's just call it what it is. This massive company that is operating with the university logo on it. So it is only giving them the opportunity to hire better coaches, to create even stronger support staffs, and just continue to, while a lot of college athletics is dealing with cost cutting and difficult decisions, the Big Ten is able to operate with a little bit more freedom when it comes to those things because of things like a $76 million payout.
Chip Patterson is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show, and I just read a story that Mark Cuban essentially paid for Fernando Mendoza at Indiana. So it is, the player acquisition part of college football, college basketball does operate outside the university. But at the same time, there's a Bubba Cunningham interview out there, and I cannot wait to talk to the outgoing AD at UNC about his thoughts on that. He sees bifurcation, two separate rules. He sees one set of rules where players are being paid to play, and another set of rules where players are paying to play. The Olympic sports and the massive upheaval that we are about to see down the road in that. I mean, we are at an unbelievable crossroads in this operation. I just don't know how many more years. I thought it would have like 5 more years. We're looking at television contracts. I don't think it's got that long before we're going to have a massive change.
And that's the signal that we are continuing to hear from athletic directors. I remember Ohio State's athletic director came out with something several weeks ago, which means that the conversations are getting very serious with the power players, and somebody at the table is saying the public needs to get a little bit of a heads up of what's going to be coming down the line. So they're saying it like they're not coming out with a press conference, but it's a conversation in a podcast here. It's a conversation in a radio interview there. I'll say this. I hope that while Bubba Cunningham is transitioning into a new role that is going to have, different focuses and trying to pave the path forward, I would like his voice to still carry some weight. I think he has done a pretty good job of navigating a complex political situation at the university. And I think he has been able to balance like true, came up in it, right? I mean, he was at the MAC, right?
Yeah.
He spent time at Notre Dame. His wealth of experience gives him a lot of perspective. And what I've heard from him is not scare tactics, but it is very grounded in reality. So I hope that he continues to make his voice part of the conversation, because I don't think, even at the highest levels at Ohio State and at UNC, they know specifically what the details are, but they know that it's going to be a different reality, and they're trying to prepare us for it. So I'm ready to listen, because I don't think that the future has been set in stone yet.
Oh, I have wild visions of the future, almost hallucinogenic visions of the future. I have a system where football has nothing to do with anything else, and that maybe basketball can be normal, but I'm not sure basketball can be normal anymore unless football completely does its own thing and basketball is just the outlier within a normal college structure. I have no idea. But if basketball also separates, the NCAA will have no operating revenue at all, which is weird. Let me ask you about, as I kind of bring up basketball, Duke, and Chip Patterson is here on Wednesday always. Duke and Amazon have this deal, and we don't have to get into the ins and outs. ESPN had to be part of it. And it's a 3-game, exclusive package for Amazon Prime. Can you see this being almost a test run for, Notre Dame football, Alabama football, like buying the rights away from a network and distributing them through a streamer?
Could this be a test run for independence for Duke basketball?
I mean, it might actually. That would be very interesting, wouldn't it?
I know that's what I'm thinking about. Because you're right, like the ins and outs of this get very complicated. So let's just have some fun and let the creative mind wander. I think Duke. If you want to spin this, for everyone talks about, North Carolina would be one of the biggest chess pieces in further conference expansion. Virginia has all. You start to look at all these different ACC schools. And, part of me was like, well, maybe Duke would stick around.
I've been saying that.
And almost have a Gonzaga-like existence, which, given ACC basketball, isn't that dissimilar from what they've had a couple of seasons recently. Yep. Not this year, but, a couple of times recently. My mind did wander to that idea of, what if there is any program in America that could do in basketball what Notre Dame does in football, it's Duke.
Yep.
And so I would not recommend doing never mind, I can't speak on media rights deals. But anyway, I think that it is at least interesting to consider that if there is any basketball program that could do what Notre Dame does in football, it is Duke, and that this kind of power move looks a lot like what Notre Dame likes to do.
Yeah, I've been saying this for a while when we've talked about which ACC schools would be attractive. And I always bring it up. I'm like, I don't understand why people are not talking about Duke because, yes, I know football drives everything, but basketball is not insignificant, and there is no needle mover in the sport that approaches Duke.
Mm-mm.
They are the needle. They are, I'm not going to say the Tiger Woods of college basketball, but they are the needle. If you look at every year, if you go find the top 20 rated college basketball games every year, I'll bet you Duke is playing in 10 of them. They just
some of them.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say some of that also is a self-fulfilling prophecy chicken egg situation because I went back and looked for this season, and it was like the game that was on Fox on Thanksgiving. Oh, really? You think the game that came after the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving and had Duke and Arkansas was going to rate well? I think Carolina, Michigan State on Black Friday was another one. And they're put in those positions because of their brands, right? That's why I say self-fulfilling prophecy.
Sure.
The very best college basketball windows of any given season are going to be given to the schools that are going to draw.
Oh, but they all know it. They all know who draws. And in terms of regular season basketball, Duke Carolina is almost always number one. Duke Michigan was huge, and there's a ton of things. All right, final thing before we have to say goodbye. I was going to ask you about Brendan Sorsby, but that's a complicated legal matter. I don't see him playing again, but he did retain Jeffrey Kessler. Give me a list. Give me as best as you can, Chip Patterson. Who are the best quarterbacks coming into that will be on display in college football this year?
Great question because it kind of takes two roads. There's an easy answer where you just say Arch Manning and Dante Moore.
Okay.
Dante Moore had Oregon in the college football playoff semifinals. He was great this year. They leaned on their run game. Their wide receivers got banged up, but the skill that he showed absolutely has him in the conversation as one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. Arch Manning, rough start, well documented that he did not live up to those preseason Heisman favorite expectations in the same way that Texas did not live up to its preseason number one expectations. But when they're sitting up there at the postgame press conference and Arch Manning says, this was a good experience, but I don't plan to be in the Cheez-It Bowl next year, I kind of take him at his word. And the work that Texas did in the transfer portal, which included getting Hollywood Smothers from NC State. It's just every single skill position, Adam. They were already good, and then they just went out and got another instant plug and play, all in type vibes for what is almost certainly Arch Manning's last season. So that's one department, right?
Yeah.
This guy who was a QB1 for a good team last year who's going to be back. Then there's the other one where you could tell me that Sam Leavitt at LSU with Lane Kiffin emerges as one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He is coming off a foot injury. He has had a few other injuries. There are reasons that if you wanted to, you could push back a little bit and say, I don't quite see it. You could say DJ Carr at Notre Dame, after a really, really good first year as a starter, is ready to emerge and be one of the biggest stars. You could say, hey, Chip, you big dummy, Julian Sayin was a Heisman finalist. Why is no one talking about the Ohio State quarterback as one of the best players in the country? So it's like the very easy top is Dante Moore and Arch Manning, but then you've got all these others where you could imagine how that next step would come and that they could find themselves, really being at the very top of it. And then I think Darian Mensah is going to be the preseason player of the year in the ACC. I think he could be one of the best players in the entire country. He's got an awesome offense to be able to build around him. I think that Miami might have gotten an upgrade at quarterback. I think Miami did get an upgrade at quarterback going from Carson Beck to Darian Mensah. And so that's another one where it's like you could tell me that this all clicks. It's a little bit less certain just because it's a new team, new everything. But there's all the transfers, all of the new opportunities. Those are some question marks that should be challenging what seemed to be a little bit more certainty at the top.
We got football-y at the end. I love it. Chip Patterson, my man. All right, brother, I'll talk to you next week. I appreciate your time.
Sounds good. Y'all be well.
We covered all bases with Chip. It's awesome. All right, when we come back, stretch, one-timers, and I don't think I did very well yesterday. Max, you remember how you did?
I did not do well either.
We'll do better today. Next.
Asheville to Wilmington, Boone to Durham, the Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
You know the only feeling sweeter than opening a college acceptance letter? Knowing that you'll be able to pay for tuition however far you go. The first step? Completing the free application for federal student aid, or the FAFSA for short. Find out how much money for college you qualify for. Grants, scholarships, and other opportunities are waiting. How far can you go? Find out at cfnc.org/FAFSA 101.
Hi, I'm Cherie Sample Hughes, Women in Government Board Chair. Alzheimer's disease often starts subtly with a memory slip, lost word, or forgotten appointment. For patients experiencing memory and thinking issues, there are FDA-cleared blood biomarker tests that can help detect the buildup of proteins in the brain that can lead to the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. That's why early detection and diagnosis are so important. Sharing details about your memory and thinking issues with your doctor can help determine if testing is right for you. Find more at womeningovernment.org.
You don't build a tradition overnight. You earn it.
The Coca-Cola 600's underway.
This is the Crown Jewel Race. It's a 600-mile salute to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice.
It's do what we love because of the sacrifices that were made by our military heroes.
If you win this one, you'll carry it with you forever. It's NASCAR's toughest test of man and machine.
It's the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway on Memorial Day weekend.
Turning 65 soon, navigating Medicare can be overwhelming and confusing, but you're not alone. The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program can help. SHIP counselors can help you understand Medicare benefits to make your best choices. Visit ncship.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
If you want the nation's best auto insurer, look no further than North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Rated #1 in Crash Network's Insurer Report Card 7 years in a row, we're the only insurer in the nation to receive an A+ rating from auto body shops. Our philosophy is simple: be fair, be quick, be the best. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
Your child's doctor shares your goals: a healthy future for your child. Doctors recommend vaccines throughout childhood because they protect what matters most: your child's future from preventable disease and serious illness. Discuss any questions you have and check that your child is up to date and talk about any concerns. You're right to have questions. Get real answers. Start a conversation with your doctor today. Visit vaccinesforkids.nc.gov. Paid for by NCDHHS.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, may I ask a few questions?
Yeah, of course.
Do you have any pets?
Yes, we have a dog.
Great. Do you have a pool outside?
Nope, just a big old backyard.
Nice. Another question. Are there any unlocked guns in the home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, let's just talk about what we can bring for dessert.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council.
This is Adam Gold.
Steve Bettman take all that time to walk out, then to see the pick, bro hug no less than 20 guys on his way up there. And then this draft house, they just moved this wall like the Price is Right. I don't know.
It's a showcase showdown back there.
I know.
That would be great. So we should spin a wheel,
yeah,
right? Exactly.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Max Gorin on the ones and twos today. Where does this song rank for you on your all-time favorite songs? Because I'm pretty sure that if we went back, I don't whatever that noise was that came out of me. I'm pretty sure if we went back and listened to all the shows that you have produced, this song I think is the most popular. It's like number one on your chart.
I mean, probably. I mean, I think it was number one on my Spotify Wrapped the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Or actually, I think it might have been number 2 years ago, and Minute by Minute was just ahead of it.
It's a great track.
But it's a
Minute
great
by
album.
Minute's a great song.
So yeah, it's definitely way up there. Got to be like top 5.
I appreciate you. I've said this before. This is not a slam. I appreciate your old soul musical taste. It speaks to me. It speaks to me. All right, shall we stretch?
All right, so as you will recall from yesterday, we talked about there was a guy in Maryland who won $50,000 off a scratch-off ticket twice in 2 weeks or something like that. But basically had 2 separate $50,000 lottery winners in the state of Maryland. The one guy had both. Well, there was another lottery ticket winner in Maryland. I guess this is just the key to winning scratch-offs and winning the lottery is to buy the ticket in Maryland. He's a California truck driver, just spotted a lottery vending machine at a Maryland truck stop and ended up winning $100,000.
Oh, wow.
He selected a $25.
Maybe I'll move back to Maryland.
$25, $1 million crossword scratch-off. Ended up getting a $100,000 winner. He attributed it to beginner's luck because he is not a regular lottery player. And the truck driver said his winnings will go towards putting a down payment on a new home. So I guess the moral of the story is if you want to win the lottery, if you want to win a scratch-off ticket, buy it in Maryland. For the other guy, apparently I think Gaithersburg is the hot spot.
That was what yesterday was.
That's where you want to go. Another thing here. How much weight do you think you could pull just using your neck?
I could probably pull, I don't know, a ton.
A ton?
No, of course not.
I mean, really, that's kind of on the low end because this athlete from Aruba, Egmond Molina, set a Guinness World Record, his 10th Guinness World Record, pulling a bus 65 feet using his neck. I don't know how this is possible. But he used a rope around his neck to pull a 21,737-pound bus on January 9th, officially breaking the record for the heaviest vehicle pulled by neck. And I think he set the record by about 4,000 pounds.
Okay, that's really not just your neck, right? Because I'm sure that there's mostly legs, core, but still. Dumb?
Just this guy's resume of like strongman Guinness World Records is very impressive. Fastest 20-meter bus pull with one finger. That was 33 seconds. 33.32 seconds.
Fastest 20-meter bus pull with one finger?
Fastest 20-meter tram pull with teeth. That was 39.9 seconds.
That's outstanding work.
Fastest hot water bottle burst with 2.87 seconds. I'm curious what that means.
I'm not curious about that.
And the most crown cap bottles opened with both hands in 30 seconds. That was 6 bottles. That is just a small selection of his Guinness World Records. Now he's set his 10th. So shout out to Egmond Molina from Aruba for getting the 10th Guinness World Record, pulling a bus with his neck 65 feet. I don't think I will be attempting to break that record anytime soon.
I'm just surprised that any strongman record, Guinness World Record, isn't set by somebody named Zemgus. Because to me, it's always guys like that.
You'd hit up the Tampa Bay Lightning, get Zemgus Girgensons. Get him on it.
It's just somebody in the, Norway or Denmark or somebody like that who lifts big stones and
watch this transition. Zemgus Girgensons, he's not playing tonight, but Buffalo and Montreal are, and that will bring us to placing our bets.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal in Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
All right, I was useless yesterday. Let's see if we can be less useless today.
Yeah, I believe I was 0 for 3 as well. I don't think Vladimir Tarasenko ended up scoring a goal in that game. So we'll re-rack it now. Like I said, Buffalo and Montreal, game 1 tonight. I'm going to ride with the Sabres at home. I'm going to go with Buffalo. Money line, that is -130.
All right, I'm just going to go over 5.5 with Buffalo Montreal. And we're going to go Jason Zucker and Josh Anderson, one for each side, with at least one scoring point. That's +391.
We got the second leg Champions League semifinal between Bayern Munich and PSG this afternoon. Last game, there were quite a few goals.
Yes.
I believe 9 in total. I think it was 5-4. So I'm going to go with both teams to score in the first half. That is +150.
All right, let's go. I'm going to do the same thing with Anaheim and Vegas tonight. We're going to go over 6.5. Give me a point, at least 1 point from Leo Carlson, and at least one from Shea Theodore, and that is +277.
Lastly, I'm going to go to the Truist Championship, which actually tees off tomorrow, but these guys will be in play by the time we're on the show. I'm going to go with Rory McIlroy to be the first-round leader, +1400. Has a very good track record at Quail Hollow, and I expect that to continue.
All right. We're going to go Champions League. Bayern will advance. It's -114. And we're going to give you an anytime goal scorer, and it will be Michael Olise, +135 for Olise. I think we are going to have a blast today if you are inclined to watch Champions League football on Paramount. It will be box office fun, unlike what we saw yesterday.
Delivering more hits than the Canes forecheck.
Shoot, he scores!
The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hi, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. When Gordon was in kindergarten, they had a career day, and they asked him, what would you like to do? And he said, at age 6, I want to save people thousands of dollars when they buy a house. Really, that's what I want to do. Are you sure, little Gordon? Yes, that's what I want to do, because I think that in the future, there won't be closing costs necessary. I'll take care of the banks. Let people save thousands of dollars in closing cost money. And then when the rates drop, they can refinance free of charge. Again, no closing costs, saving thousands, and lower their monthly payment. He did this in kindergarten. If you believe this, then you will believe some of the other companies aren't rolling closing costs into loan amounts. That will never happen at Miller Lending. Miller Lending, the original no closing cost mortgage. They are an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 250-2146.
When news breaks, don't wait. WRAL News Plus goes with you everywhere. Weather, traffic, and breaking news, live and local, all day, every day. Listen on 96.5 FM in Durham, 99.3 FM in Raleigh, and throughout the Triangle on 101.5 FM HD3. At home, in the car, at work, or on the go. Stay connected to the Triangle's most trusted newsroom anytime, anywhere. WRAL News Plus. Coverage you can count on.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com. Or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
It's bow time.
There's something special about the first bite of a Bojangles Cajun Filet biscuit, like an edible alarm clock that slaps you awake with bold Cajun flavor. The moment you sink your teeth into that soft, fluffy, made-from-scratch biscuit, then strike gold with a juicy piece of fried chicken, you'll know. Nothing beats the first bite, except the second first bite. Get a Cajun Filet biscuit combo today at Bojangles. It's bow time.
Bojangles is now hiring crew and management positions. Apply in person at select Triangle area Bojangles during the spring hiring day, Thursday, May 7th from noon until 6 p.m. For participating locations and more information, visit bojanglesrdu.com/hiring day. Bojangles offers flexible schedules and competitive wages. Be part of a winning team. Start a career with Bojangles. It's bow time.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much, but it does. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
In today's fast-moving job market, staying ahead means keeping your skills sharp. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we help keep your capabilities cutting edge with our skills-based education programs designed to move your career forward. Explore more than 135 degrees and certificates in business, cybersecurity, and more. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start May 13th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Shell.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
The bottom line is that the clock is ticking. You know, Connor McDavid had 1 year left on his contract. He signed a 2-year contract extension, basically giving Edmonton this 3-year window to win with him before he can leave as an unrestricted free agent. And year one is done, and they're out in the first round. And so they've got basically 2 more years to try to win with McDavid in Edmonton, having come so close before. And they're going to have to take some real big swings in this offseason to improve this roster.
That's Greg Wyshynski from ESPN on the clock ticking. I guess that's what they said. That's what he said. In Edmonton. Meanwhile, Toronto won the draft lottery yesterday. Go figure. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but good for Toronto because, you know, they've really needed something good to happen to them lately. Said nobody, anytime, anywhere, ever. They are trying to figure out what the equivalent is in other sports of the Toronto Maple Leafs. By the way, it's the Adam Gold Show. Max, I was going to say Max Crosby now. Max Gorin is the producer of the program this week.
There's a lot of Maxes. Athletes out there. It makes it hard to keep track.
Max contract. We have also Max Headroom.
I'll take one of those.
Would you like Max Headroom? Do you even know who Max Headroom is?
Yeah, he was some sort of musical artist in the 80s, right?
No.
Something like that.
No. Was it Max Headroom's like that? I can't even explain it. It was a parody talk show host, I think. Max Headroom. You can look it up. I have no idea. What were we talking about, Max? We don't even know.
I don't know.
We don't know. I don't know. I lost my train of thought. Happens at my age. All right, let's do the wall of sound.
The wall of sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, we were talking about Greg Wyshynski. I was about to just reference what he was doing. Toronto won the draft lottery, all of that. A couple of years ago, Chicago won the draft lottery mysteriously. Because, they certainly deserve good things to happen to them. No. But the Maple Leafs have been a mess. What would be a good comparison for Toronto Maple Leafs hockey? Would it be New York Knicks basketball? Would it be New York Mets baseball?
Maybe. When was the last time the Mets won the World Series?
86.
That's too recent, I feel like. That's 19
67.
years more recent than 1967. And the Knicks, I don't know about they won a long time ago.
Well, actually, I think it might be the Knicks. 73 last for the Knicks. But it actually might be the Knicks for this. If you listen to them long enough, they will have you convinced that they are the epicenter of the sport.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most apt comparison.
And in Toronto, and I know it's popular, Knicks basketball is probably the most popular. If they were great, it would be the sport in New York City. Here's the way, having grown up there, here's the way it works. It would be, if everybody was great, Knicks basketball, Yankees baseball, Rangers hockey, and then Giants football. That's how it would rank in New York City. But none of them are, well, the Yankees have been in the past. And the Yankees are very good this year. But the Knicks, they would own the city if they deserved it, but they don't. Just like Toronto. Anyway, they have a lot of work anyway, as do the Edmonton Oilers. They do not have a great team. They have two ridiculous players and some other good players, but the rest of that team, no bueno. All right, to the wall of sound, and here we go. We will start with Rod Brindamore on needing more from, well, you know the guys he's talking about.
But you have to play that way all the time. It's not just on the power play. I mean, the penalty kills are certainly doing that. But, there's obviously execution is really what power plays come down to. You gotta raise a plan, but you gotta execute it. And, if there's been an area that I think we could be better for sure, there's some execution that we need to improve, especially the one unit. I think the other units actually been very good. So, that's an area we got to get better.
Yeah, we're not talking about Stankoven's unit, the second unit, or Stankoven's line. We are talking about Aho, and I know Sebastian met the media today. Aho, Svechnikov, Jarvis. Jarvis did get a goal. My opinion is they're just right now too slow. Things are moving too slowly. When they pick up the pace, things will open up. They've just got to pick up the pace, and that just comes from right now, for whatever reason, lacking confidence. So they're trying not to make a mistake. Meanwhile, they're making bad passes, and they're doing things too slowly. Did Philadelphia head coach Rod Brindamore, did they do anything different in Game 2?
I thought they played a great game. Didn't really listen to any of their comments, but I'm sure that they were happy with how they played, and I was too. I was happy with our group. There was some areas we know we got to improve on. I actually liked our starter. We other than the flip it over the glass, we get one down, and then they had a good shift. We didn't get pucks out. They get up two with it. I mean, I think I looked up at one point halfway through the game that we had given up 8 shots. So our start was good. We were just down, and then again, too many penalties, right? That just takes the wind out of your sails to get any kind of momentum going. So we got to find a way to get better in that area.
All right, I just want to. The end of that clip for me is important. Too many penalties. Look, Carolina got 6 power plays. They scored on their first one, didn't score on their last 5. Philadelphia got 7 power plays, scored on their first one, didn't score on their next 6. But I think if you asked both head coaches, they would say, yeah, too many penalties. It's not that they're not willing to accept power plays. We'll take them. Better chance to score. But it does interrupt what has made both teams good, and that's 5-on-5 play. And I think both head coaches would rather play longer stretches at 5-on-5 than we've seen. And again, there were 13 power plays in the game on Monday night, and there was 2 minutes of 4-on-4. It doesn't lend itself to a great game when you've got that much power play time. It just doesn't. I'd much rather see each side get like 3 power plays and play the game primarily at 5-on-5. I think the game would be better. Now Carolina goes up to Philadelphia, where Rod Brindamore does not control who plays against who.
Yeah, I'm not I think, like I said earlier about that, you get to this stage of the season, everybody's good. I mean, you rely on everybody on your team or you wouldn't be this far. So everybody can play against everyone. You in your mind, you have little things that, okay, maybe that group can go against that group, be better, but on the road, that kind of goes out the window a little bit, and you trust your team, and that's usually how I go about it.
This is where Carolina's advantage, I think, really plays in. Is why they've been so good on the road, because Rod has no problem at all playing any of his 4 lines. He looks for places to get the Jankowski line out on the ice. He looks for reasons to put them out on the ice. If you'll notice, offensive zone face-off, pucking, into the netting or something, he'll send them out there because he knows what they will do in terms of a forecheck and keeping the puck in the offensive end. But he's happy using any of his 4 lines. So that's where Carolina's advantage a lot of times, especially on the road, is felt. All right, at least the beginning. I want people to hear at least the beginning of this. PK Subban was on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, and McAfee asked if he thought the Hurricanes might win the Cup.
Can you tell me about the Canes a little bit more from a hockey perspective on why they are what they are right now? And are they legit? Are the Canes going to win Lordo out here?
I'm so happy you're asking me about the Canes because Canes fans absolutely can't stand me. I've never picked the Canes to win a series, I think, in the past 4 or 5 years. I can't even step into Raleigh right now, I don't think. But I will say this, they've always been a competitive team. They've always been in the mix. The reason why I haven't picked them is because you got to show me, and they are showing me right now. The acquisition of Taylor Hall and some of the other veterans on that team, you think of Stankoven and how hot he's been. Ehlers coming over. They retooled the defense, picking up K-Andre Miller, who just eats, he's playing the best hockey I've seen him play since probably his first year with the Rangers, right? The way he's skating.
Let's just stop it there.
I got to
All right. Great observation about K-Andre Miller. You're right. Hurricanes fans don't like you because they feel like you never give them any credit, but he's giving them credit here. Not picking them until they've done it is kind of weird because just in an individual series, they've won plenty of individual series. But it's okay. It doesn't matter. I don't want us to act like aggrieved parties. We shouldn't be. It doesn't matter if people pick the Hurricanes or not. Nobody cares. I mean, you may care, but to me, it's comedy at this point. And I did find it, again, funny that the ESPN crew in the studio going to overtime all picked Flyers. Somebody picked Noah Cates to score. Somebody picked Zegras to score. I don't know. There's somebody, I forget who it was. And it was Taylor Hall. But Taylor Hall, Nick Ehlers, the way Miller's playing, the way Walker is playing, this version of this Hurricanes team, this team is better, deeper, way different than they have been in the past. Way different. And with that said, they got away with Game 2. Carolina was no better than a B in Game 2. You ain't going to, probably not beating the Flyers with a B. Maybe. You're certainly not beating Montreal or Buffalo with a B game. You're going to have an A game to do that. When we come back, Eric Reese covers the Flyers. Flyers Nation online. Flyers fans might know who he is. We're going to talk about the series with him next.
Because your fantasy football team needs all the help it can get, the Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
I don't care what you got, just give me that. One goal.
Nikishin, Ehlers, shoots his scores! Oh, the power play! Verdeen wide open, rebound, and what a save by Anderson!
Hoist Lord Stanley's Cup.
Sebastian Aho in, short hit back in, scores! Oh, talk to me, Shorty! Carolina!
The Triangle's official home for the Carolina Hurricanes. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
If you are beyond ready for the weekend and in need for some motorcycle therapy, you're in luck because we're halfway there. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here from 99.9 The Fan for Law Tigers, and sometimes Wednesdays are just the toughest days of the week. But maybe you've been thinking about that ride to the beach this weekend or maybe up to the mountains and checking off that to-do list as we get closer. While you're checking off that list, it's always smart to keep in mind what could happen while you're on the road. If you're ever in an accident on your motorcycle, make sure to call Law Tigers first before calling your insurance company. At Law Tigers, they're riders too, so they get it. They know the value of your bike and your gear and the investment that you've made. They know what it's like to go through an accident, and case evaluations are always going to be free, so you're not going to pay a dime until your case is settled. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Jungle Cash Word Scratch-Offs and Digital Instance games are here.
2 ways to play.
Yeah. Play Scratch-Offs like you do.
Scratch it.
Play Digital Instance on your phone.
2 ways to win.
Right. 2 ways to find letters and complete words. 2 ways to win up to $150,000.
That's a lot of crackers.
Jungle Cash Word from the North Carolina Education Lottery. 2 ways to play, 2 ways to win instantly. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds to win range from 1 in 3.79 to 3.90. Problem Gambling Helpline 877-718-5543.
At Wake Orthopedics Urgent Care, we spend days, nights, and weekends in 3 convenient locations providing specialized care for kids and adults. Sprains and strains, shoulders and knees, fractures, hammies, and more. All that and all without an appointment. Walk in or limp in, either way you'll get the care you need whenever you need it. Visit us today at wakemed.org.
Credit card interest rates are now over 29%, and most people are only making the minimum payment, so they're getting nowhere. Hey, it's Dennis Cox for Loan Pronto. But here's what many homeowners don't realize. Using the equity in your home, you can easily access hundreds of thousands in cash. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can pay off your credit cards, your existing HELOC, your car loans, or get money for that home improvement project. One client just got $100,000 approved and saved over $1,500 a month. And here's the best part. With Loan Pronto, you can do it all from your phone with zero out-of-pocket, no hard credit pull up front, no appraisal, no long drawn-out bank process, and no touching your first mortgage. Rates are at near 3-year lows. Act now. Go to loanpronto.com. See how much you can get in about 60 seconds. Loan Pronto, 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
In the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to Markdowns for Miles at AutoZone.
Got any markdowns on brakes?
We mark Duralast brake pads down to free.
Free Duralast brake pads?
When you buy 2 rotors.
Can I get Duralast Gold pads for free?
With 2 Duralast Gold rotors, and there's a lifetime warranty on brake pads.
That's a huge markdown for so many miles.
Save on brakes and more during Markdowns for Miles at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This is Adam Gold.
The American Cornhole League. I don't know if you can wager on it. Let me go to FanDuel and find out if you can wager on it.
I think I read you can get a scholarship. Kids in high school can actually get scholarships for cornholing. Who knows? I don't know what the technical term is.
I'm just not going to say anything.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Max Gorin producing the program. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock, Game 3, Eastern Conference semifinal series. We can call it the Metropolitan Division Championship Series if you want. Hurricanes and Flyers. Carolina leading 2-0 after the overtime win in Game 2. Eric Reese, Flyers Nation, at Eric Reese FN, joining us now on the Adam Gold Show. First of all, thank you very much for helping us broker this meet and greet. I appreciate your time. What's your read so far on the first 2 games of the series?
Hey, first and foremost, thank you for having me on your show. Let's just start with Game 1. Kind of watching how that all unfolded. it's not really much of a surprise. I really do think that, going into this, a lot of Flyers fans had on their mind that the Carolina Hurricanes were going to be the better team, and it showed. However, if you do look at, if the regular season, and sometimes, you can say, hey, the regular season doesn't have anything with the postseason. I'm kind of a proponent of that in some ways. But if you look at the regular season, the Philadelphia Flyers played Carolina very closely.
Sure.
Every single game went
4
into
overtimes.
Right. Every single game went into either a shootout or was decided in a shootout or an overtime. In terms of that, game 2 was something more that I expected. I thought it would be a closer game. You guys kind of woken up a beast, I think, if you will, within the Flyers in game 1. And Rick Tocchet, this is something that he kind of hammered home. It's how you start games, and it's very important. Sean Couturier echoed that very loud. We're going to see a different start going into game 2, and I felt that you saw that. In terms of the Carolina Hurricanes, no one has been able to jump, to a lead in the postseason. The Flyers led for about, I think it was 51 minutes and 21 seconds.
Yeah.
Maybe down to the T there. Yeah, I mean, that's huge for Philadelphia, and this is a team of young guys. We're learning a ton of lessons, jumping into the fire pretty much against a team who I think is frankly a contender to represent the Eastern Conference in the Stanley Cup Finals. So, it's down to nothing. You hate to see it if you're a Philadelphia fan, because you do think that this could be a tied 1-1 coming to Philadelphia for game 3. But no one's, hey, if we're going to go back and read the tea leaves in the national media and the and what chances they gave Philadelphia, ESPN, they gave Philadelphia. Some people from ESPN said the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to sweep Philadelphia.
Right.
Game 6 turns.
I love the Flyers in that series.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I liked it. I felt the same way, and we've had some guys cool off. Porter Martone came in and lit the world on fire.
Yeah.
It looked so fantastic. I still think the guy is going to be fantastic NHLer, but these are guys that have come to earth a little bit. For the most part, you do want to see more if you're the Philadelphia Flyers out of your forward group, because they are being outscored on their considering their own roster by their defenders. So I do, yeah. I mean, like this is something that they're trying to find their pieces. They're trying to find something along the way here, but none of this is really that surprising considering this series in the semifinals between the Hurricanes and the Flyers.
Eric Reese, Flyers Nation, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Let me dig into the forward group. Looks like Owen Tippett is going to draw back in for Game 3. He's a big part of that group. He's also historically been very difficult for Carolina to deal with, so that bodes well for Philadelphia. But it looks like Noah Cates, a player who I like a lot, is out for the series, according to Rick Tocchet. And I know he jumbled the lines going into Game 2, basically separating Trevor Zegras and Porter Martone to kind of spread the lineup out, which I also think benefited Philadelphia, getting Martone away from Carolina's top line, because Carolina's top line is excellent defensively, and I thought that maybe that gave Martone a little bit more, but Keandre Miller was always near him, and that certainly erased a lot of things. Your thoughts on what Philadelphia's forward group is going to look like, especially down the middle?
I wouldn't be surprised if we see more so like Zegras moves back to the middle. You're probably going to have Couturier, obviously, still.
Sure.
You did mention that Cates is going to be out of the lineup, and he's actually out of the lineup for the remainder of the series. From what I can understand, it does sound like Barkey is going to remain there as a center, and
good player.
Dvorak, and I think that's somebody who is going to be learning a lot of lessons. He's versatile, and that's going to be something he's going to carry with him as an NHLer. And it's good to get his feet wet in a center role down the middle in the postseason against a hard checking team, one of the hardest checking teams and one of the faster teams in the NHL, like the Hurricanes. And Dvorak, I guess would be considered on the injury report as of today, but he'll be in there for game 3. I think Dvorak and Tippett will be there for game 3, so that's not much of a worry. So if we're talking about what's going to be down the center, sans Cates, Zegras, Barkey, and no particular order, I guess, but Zegras, Barkey, Dvorak, and Couturier. That's pretty much what you're going to find.
Eric Reese, Flyers Nation, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Did you think that was goaltender interference in overtime?
So when Blake, it's kind of convoluted. I don't think when Blake shoved Barkey into Vladar, that was goaltender interference. It's just player on player. I don't think that's the goaltender interference. What I do think is goaltender interference is you can tell that Blake was pinning down Vladar's glove with the stick.
It was actually Sean Walker's stick, not
okay.
Blake.
I thought it was Blake on the video. So if it's Sean Walker, either way, I would sit there and say that is goaltender interference. The problem is if you're Tocchet, you can't review it. It goes to the officials.
Right.
And the officials did not review. That's how overtime works.
They reviewed it. The officials were stayed on the ice. They had to actually communicate with the situation room. So the officials were still there.
Oh, they did review it.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. It had to be reviewed. They automatically review those things to see. And the officials were hanging around waiting for communication back. The communication they got back was that the goal stood. But everything happened outside the crease. And I guess there can be goaltender interference outside the crease. But in a loose puck situation where nobody's got possession, I just don't know how you would ever overturn that goal, even though I think Walker had help, by the way. I don't think Walker placed his stick on Vladar on his own, because I think he was under duress from behind, whether it was Cam York or Denver Barkey was also in that scrum there. But Blake gets to the puck before Vladar has a chance to get to it, and that's where the puck came over to Taylor Hall.
Yeah, it's just one of those plays where I can see it going 50-50. I mean, I'm trying not to be a homer here, but I do kind of see it. I don't want to be a homer. I take kind of the pride in that, but I do think that there is legitimacy where someone can say that is goaltender interference. I can also see it coming down to the call that it is. At the end of the day here, the Flyers had the game on their stick, right?
Several times.
We saw this going in. I think it was about 4 minutes roughly left, and Konechny springs a breakaway. And everybody, especially Flyers fans, because I love overtime hockey. It was a lot easier to love overtime hockey in Game 6 against the Penguins in the quarterfinals.
Right.
When it's Game 2 and you're on the losing end of it, that's the difference between the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. So I still love overtime hockey. It was hard to love. But when you see, like Konechny, that's shot that he did on the slot, that's his bag. He's done it over the years. He typically scores in that fashion. The problem is he's going against the best goaltender in this playoffs, who going into that game didn't allow one goal. He was under one goal against average with like a 95, roughly 96% save percentage. I mean, you could say, hey, get in there and take a closer shot, make a increase that. What's everybody like to look at? The XGF,
right.
That analytic. Increase that a little bit with a closer shot. But that's kind of Konechny's bag. Like that shot. I don't hate that he went for it. The save was made.
Yeah.
He didn't miss the net.
I thought he missed the net live. When I was sitting there live,
Listen,
I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he bailed us out. And then we find out that Anderson got the blocker to it.
You got the blocker up. And if Anderson was only able to get a blocker up and everybody live thought that Konechny missed the net, that doesn't tell me that Anderson got a large chunk of that puck, which means Konechny had a lot of room, or at least to him, the room to fit that in, and nearly did. So it's a matter of inches. Everybody wants to sit there and say, oh, Konechny, he hasn't really contributed in terms of goal scoring. Look, Konechny's had a stellar postseason. In terms of, his contributions, whether it's playmaking, for the most part, which it has been playmaking, I felt like he's been very, very good in terms of what he's doing with the puck and sometimes without it. Yeah, has he, probably struggled in one game? Sure, but there's other playmakers, and talent on the Flyers who have struggled for more than one game, and they're not really getting the slack or, catching the flack, I should say, that Konechny has. I do believe that part's unfair, but I'll leave that one, the rest by this point, because game 2 shouldn't follow you into game 3.
Right. All right, so tell me.
That's where it is.
We're going to have to wrap here in a second, but Eric Reese, Flyers Nation, tell me this. What is the building going to be like tomorrow night at 8 o'clock when these two teams take the ice?
Absolute electric. I don't know if it's one of those things where how some franchises kind of say, hey, we're not, having outside fans buying tickets. The Flyers, I don't find that they do that. I think they're pretty much an open book. Hey, come fill the arena. Let's have a real atmosphere.
Oh, there'll be Hurricanes fans there. Hurricanes fans are everywhere.
They travel well.
Yep.
Yeah, they do travel well. I've seen it over the last 5 to 6 years when I've covered this team for sure. It's going to be electric.
Yeah.
It's that's probably the most overused word, but it's kind of the one that really hits the bullseye. Flyers fans are going to be rowdy. They're going to have that angst in their gut that there should be a 1-1 series, and they feel it. It is what it is at this point. But tomorrow is it's you live and die. If you go down 3 games, the last thing you want to do is kind of be like Ottawa and get swept. That's frankly it. And every Flyers fan's looking at it that way. So if you go into, Xfinity Mobile Arena, as I call it, the call center, because, however they switch these names, you're going to go head to head with a team who's already irritated, for a lack of a, better term probably. And, the fans are going to be as irritated, and you're going to hear it. And I honestly believe the start from game 2 is going to be replicated in game 3. There might be more of that. I think, as Paul Bissonnette kind of coined it for us, the scumbag hockey. I hope.
Okay.
I hope not, because I don't feel like that's going to, necessarily help the Flyers against the Hurricanes.
Ottawa tried it.
Yeah. Well, we saw a ton of penalties, in game 2.
Awful.
What was it? I think we had 7 power plays, scored once. You guys had 6, scored once.
We each scored on the first power play, and then took the rest of the game off with the man advantage. It was awful.
And that right there, for either team could have prevented, this going into overtime. I don't necessarily think that. I would kind of how you were saying before this whole segment started. I hope it's more 5-on-5 hockey. Yeah, goaltending is going to kind of be, the thing that takes the cake, because Vladar and Anderson have been on top of their games. I'm excited. I'm flyered up, as we say in Philadelphia. I'm sure you guys are sounding the sirens as you guys, have the hashtag in
Appreciate
Carolina.
you using that. Very nice.
Oh. Yeah, hey, let's bring it into Philly for game 3. Let's make this a series. We'll see where this goes.
I don't endorse that last part. Look, I'll take a week off, but I always anticipate that these games, which are super tight, won in the margins. Carolina's won in the margins, whether it's a big save here or a big kill there. Keandre Miller playing at the highest possible level that he has played. Sean Walker, former Flyer, who has also had a huge impact. To me, Taylor Hall scores the goal. Sean Walker makes the goal with not only carrying the puck, but also the middle lane drive to get to the front and create that scrum that ultimately Carolina won the game through. Eric Reese, Flyers Nation, enjoyed it. Have fun to a point tomorrow night, and you can take that for whatever you want it to mean, and I hope to talk to you again.
Absolutely. And I'll leave you with one more thing.
Sure.
Every single Flyers fan is they're doing this revisionist history right now, including myself. We really wish we had Logan Stankoven in orange and black.
He's a player,
That being said, let's make this a series. Thank you for having me on your show.
You got it. Take care. Eric Reese, Flyers Nation. That was fun. All right, when we come back, I want to get back into the game, back into the series, a little bit more about Miller and Walker, but also somebody paid Carolina a super compliment yesterday, and I want you to hear who it is. Next.
still arguing whether hockey or golf has the tougher dress code? The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and here is proof of why. FanDuel giving you better payouts on same-game parlays all NBA playoffs long. With more ways to build, more value every time you play, you can stack your picks your way for every game, every matchup, every moment, spreads, player points, threes, more. Build it all into one same-game parlay. Go for bigger payouts. So if you're betting same-game parlays during the NBA postseason, do it on FanDuel. More options, better payouts, all NBA playoffs long. FanDuel.com/local. FanDuel.com/local. Get started. FanDuel for the NBA playoffs all the time. An official partner of the NBA. FanDuel. Play your game. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
If you want the nation's best auto insurer, look no further than North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Rated #1 in Crash Network's Insurer Report Card 7 years in a row, we're the only insurer in the nation to receive an A+ rating from auto body shops. Our philosophy is simple: be fair, be quick, be the best. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
You don't build a tradition overnight. You earn it.
The Coca-Cola 600's underway.
This is a crown jewel race. It's a 600-mile salute to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice.
It's do what we love because of the sacrifices that were made by our military heroes.
If you win this one, you'll carry it with you forever.
It's NASCAR's toughest test of man and machine.
It's the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway on Memorial Day weekend.
Carolina Complete Health. From neighborhoods in Charlotte to families in Greensboro, Raleigh, and Durham, all the way to Asheville and Wilmington, and everything in between. We are here for communities across North Carolina, connecting you to the care and support you need. We are here to make healthcare easier to access and understand. We are here to bridge the gap, because your health matters. Your community matters. You matter. We are here for your health. Visit hereforyourhealthnc.com.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
Your child's doctor shares your goals. A healthy future for your child. Doctors recommend vaccines throughout childhood because they protect what matters most. Your child's future from preventable disease and serious illness. Discuss any questions you have and check that your child is up to date and talk about any concerns. You're right to have questions. Get real answers. Start a conversation with your doctor today. Visit vaccinesforkids.nc.gov. Paid for by NCDHHS.
This is Adam Gold.
We're going to have Seth on the show next week when he gets back from vacation. He was by a pool. What are you doing? Get off Twitter.
It's nicer to be on Twitter when you're by a pool anyway.
No, just stop. Stop engaging with people.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. That is Max Gorn on the ones and twos. I mean, you could DJ my, my 60th birthday party. You should do that. You should do that. All right, we're going to get to a rewind it a little bit. I do want to talk some about what's going to happen tomorrow night in game number 3 of this series. The series is taking on a very similar pattern to the Ottawa series. And all respect to the Flyers, I think Ottawa was a better team than Philadelphia. I think the advantage Philly might have over Ottawa is that there's a lot of same about the Flyers. I thought Ottawa's high end. Going into the series, here's what was funny. When the people looked and tried to compare roster, do a tail of the tape, they said that Ottawa's high end was better than Carolina's high end. Might have been right? Brady Tkachuk, Tim Stützle, Drake Batherson, 30-goal scorer, that their high end might have been better than Carolina's high end. You throw in Jake Sanderson in there on the back end. They had high-end players. Philadelphia doesn't have that. If you made a list of the best players, tried to rank, not who's played well, but if you made a list of the best players in this series, going into the series, how many Hurricanes would get named before the first Flyer? How many? 6?
Jarvis.
7?
Slavin.
8? Right? The top line. Is Ehlers better than anybody on the Flyers?
Probably.
Yep.
71-point player.
Yeah. Slavin? Better than anyone on the Flyers?
Better than all their defensemen.
Right. Well, that's it. So, minimum 5. But I think the number is more. I think the number is higher. Who is their best offensive player? Trevor Zegras? Probably Trevor Zegras, right? As good as Porter Martone is, when we talked to Bill Meltzer of covers the Flyers for the team's website, he said he felt like Martone was hitting the wall. He's had opportunities in this series. There have been some chances for Martone. Remember, he cuts in front. Freddie Anderson trips him. The puck was already gone, but the trip was the right call. Got no problem with it. But he had already kind of run out of racetrack to actually put that puck in the net. It would have taken something miraculous for him to do that. He had a couple of other opportunities on the goal that tied the game, the Seth Jarvis goal. Martone has inside position on Keandre Miller, but Miller makes the great defensive play to lift the stick and then get the puck up to Jordan Stahl, who gave it to Nick Ehlers, who carried the puck and left it for Seth Jarvis, and now we're tied. There have been chances for Martone. It's not easy. I mean, I've joked about it, but a month ago, he was sitting in class, assuming he went to class. So Philly is relying upon players. Now, it'll be different when Owen Tippett comes back, right? Tippett becomes one of their, might be their best player, to be honest. Sean Couturier has played great. Playing in a fourth-line role. He's their fourth-line center right now, Couturier. So Philly's got a lot of good players, and they don't have a lot of great players. So the advantage, I think, that Philly has over Ottawa is that Philly's deeper. They look the same, probably from the top to the bottom of their lineup.
And they have, I think, a much more difficult defense to kind of
the way they
create
play.
Space, very stifling defense.
Yeah, the way they play, they do not allow a lot. I'm not surprised that these have been low-scoring games. My analysis before the series started was that this would be high tempo. And all people came at me was like, but there's no goals. I'm like, yeah, but I'm just saying it's going to be fast. Philly wants to play fast. Carolina is fast. They will play fast. That doesn't mean you're going to get tons of scoring chances. Frankly, Carolina should have a couple more goals. And you could say the same thing about Philadelphia. Game 1, Carolina didn't allow a lot at all. Game 2, they allowed more. Freddie Anderson, after those 2 goals in 39 seconds of the first period, said, we're done. Anderson won Game 2, just like he won Game 2 in the Ottawa series in double overtime. now, game 3, you're going on the road. You anticipate Philadelphia coming out bananas, and they will. And it's up to Carolina to not weather the storm, but to take it to them, to make Philly pay for being maybe over-aggressive. We have no idea what would have happened in game 2 had Sean Walker not thrown the puck over the glass, because it was the power play goal that started it. Now, they won the bump-up shift after that, but it was the power play goal that started it and got Philly really into it. And it was the first time all series, all playoffs, that Carolina tasted their own blood.
I've got a small tidbit of news that just came across on Twitter. This is from Elliot Friedman. The NHL has officially informed teams of the 2026-27 salary cap and payroll range, and the new salary cap is going to be $104 million. Yep. That's an $8.5 million increase for next season.
Yep. Good luck, Carolina, to get to that. They were, I don't know what, $10, $11 million under it this year, right? It was a silly number. They were under it. And so it's...
Yeah, Carolina had $8.3 million in space already. So
yeah, and think about this. The chances that Jesperi Kotkaniemi is here next year, 50-50 at best. At best, 50-50. So they're going to have pretty close to 18, 19 million in cap room. You're going to spend some of it. Alexander Nikishin will get a bump. Remember, going into next year, Jackson Blake and Logan Stankovic's contracts kick in. But, man, good luck. They're going to... Whatever Nikishin's number is, my guess is, if I was estimating, I would say, we'll say 7, give or take, because I think it's a 2-year deal. If I were Alexander Nikishin, I wouldn't sign an 8-year contract now. But I would say that I said that going into the offseason for Jackson Blake and Logan Stankoven as well, that I wouldn't sign a long-term deal, because who knows what those two guys can become down the road. So Carolina's going to have plenty of room. And I do want to play something that is flattering to Carolina, because it is the opinion of a fellow player in the East, and we get to that in just 1 second. So I anticipate we're going to see a similar effort from Philly that we saw from Ottawa in Game 3. Did you catch, before we move on here, did you catch with Eric Reese from Flyers Nation, Max, did you catch him maybe give Carolina the credit for waking Philadelphia up in Game 1, almost like Carolina was the impetus for the way that game was played?
Yeah, I mean, I think it seems like he knew, and his kind of read of the Flyers fan base is like they knew it was a step up in competition to move up to Carolina, and I mean, based on what we saw on the ice in Game 1, they didn't seem like they were necessarily prepared for that, and definitely came out with a better kind of energy in Game 2 to get the 2 quick goals. But he gave them a lot of credit when we talked to Eric Reese.
I think Philly does deserve a lot of credit. They're not an easy team to play against. I don't give put any stock in the regular season at all. Different circumstances, different teams, to be honest. And regular season games lend themselves to a lack of focus, which I think when I go back and I look at my notes for those games, I mean, Carolina made a ton of mistakes, and they made some mistakes in Game 2. And they've minimized those for the most part in the playoffs. But I thought that he was sort of saying that Carolina maybe woke Philadelphia up in Game 1. I thought Philadelphia went to the dirty card very quickly in that game. Personally, that's what I saw.
The misconducts and everything that went down in the last 10 or 15 minutes.
Well, I think it started with Tyson Forster slashing Andrei Svechnikov in the back of the leg when he was otherwise engaged with Porter Martone.
It got a little out of control.
Right.
I think I understand that's why they called so many penalties in Game 2, but it also there was just made it so there was no flow to the game whatsoever.
To me, Philly went a little. We know we can't beat this team, so this is how we're going to have to play mode, and that's okay. I mean, you do what you got to do. whether it's within the one game or the series, I think Philadelphia is going to try and be a little chippy, post-whistly tomorrow. I think that's what they're going to try and do because that's what Ottawa tried to do. And it worked because in Game 3, you might recall, Ottawa had what, 9? Was it? No, they had 9 power plays in Game 4. There was a lot of craziness. I'm trying to remember all of it now. But no, Game 4 was the game that got out of hand. Game 3 was more of a tight game. Great memory, Gold. Anyway, I anticipate we're going to have a very feisty game tomorrow because I think Philadelphia needs to play that way to kind of level the field. If this is about 5-on-5 up and down the ice, I think Carolina's in great shape. So I think Philadelphia is going to try and post whistle and see if they can goad Carolina into some penalties. I now direct my comments to Andrei Svechnikov. Stop. I don't think he's done anything terrible in this series in terms of committing penalties, but he gets no breaks. So you can't, and it's all about the stick for Andrei. 2 high sticking penalties in a row. Dude, keep your stick down. Just keep it down. Stay out of the penalty box. And then deliver 8 hits tomorrow night. Be that player. I've liked Andrei's game, honestly, throughout. And I've liked him in this series. But he needs to stay out of the penalty box. All right, now for Hurricanes fans who want to, smile about a fellow Eastern Conference star admiring how Carolina goes about it. Andrei Vasilevsky met the media, and after criticizing, essentially, John Cooper for, basically blaming the hockey gods for a 4th straight first-round exit, do we have the media question here? Or, a follow-up question to, look, it isn't the hockey gods that has kept us out of the second round, at least in the last 4 years. He criticized the best players need to play better. Here's the follow-up question.
Guys, you think you guys can put yourself in a better position to get those bounces? Does it feel like there's maybe more that you guys can control instead of just leaving it up to, well, it just didn't go our way kind of thing?
We just have to work for it, you look at Carolina, they're so consistent throughout the years.
Right.
And they just work for it, on the ice, all 60 minutes, but we do just complain about ice quality at home.
There you go.
It surely works for the other team.
They asked, how can you, put yourself in a better position? Remember, Tampa at one point was the best team in the East. They fell off down the stretch. Buffalo ended up winning the Atlantic. Tampa ends up in second based on winning a tiebreaker with Montreal, but 106 points, 7 points behind Carolina. And Andrei Vasilevsky, one of the best goalies, Vezina finalist, one of the best goalies on earth, credited the way Carolina goes about their business game in and game out. And if you watch the playoffs, that's what we see. We know that part of the reason why Carolina has had so many great regular seasons is that they are essentially worker bees. And I know in some ways that's been used against them. Oh, that's because Carolina plays this way. They win so many games. It's just a regular season team. Yeah, it's a regular season team that seems to win a lot of playoff series. Haven't won the ones they want to yet, but they keep putting themselves in position to do that. And I see when people criticize Carolina for being a team that, succeeds between October and April, but then when it gets really hard, in the past that's been true. But that doesn't mean that this team is the same as last year's team or the team before or the team before that. And to me, and maybe it's because we see it every time, I think this team is different. I think this team is different in a ton of different ways. I think they're better defensively. Goaltending, obviously, in the playoffs has been outstanding. Better than maybe it's ever been. But let's leave that aside because it is somewhat, it can go. Carolina's got better players now than they had last year, than they had 2 years ago when they lost to the Rangers, than they had 3 years ago when they lost to the Panthers the first time in the conference finals. This team is better than that team. I know Jake Gensel was on that team. But this team, I think, is significantly better than that team. Now, you still got to go out and play, and they got to get more out of Aho, Jarvis, and Svechnikov. But I'm pretty confident that they will. They don't need, 75% of the goals from the Logan Stankoven line. 50% will be fine.
Yeah, we'll take them if they want to keep scoring. We'll take them.
Stankoven had 3 great scoring chances in the game that he didn't bury. And by the way, Eric Robinson had 5 grade A chances. 5.
I thought he might score that the breakaway on the backhand. I think he put a pretty good shot on from a kind of a. It's a tough spot when you're on your backhand there, but it was a really nice either stick or shoulder save that Vladar made there.
Oh, the save on the was that the one that Seth Jarvis created? They were shorthanded and actually drew a penalty that ended the Flyers' power play. There was only 13 seconds left in it, so. But yeah, he had back-to-back. The one where Anderson gave him the pass from in front of his net all the way to the blue line. That was phenomenal.
Eric Robinson is just like a perfect depth scoring winger. 1.7 against the cap is going to give you 10 or 15 goals. Can put him in a penalty kill situation if you have to.
It's a third
Speedy
penalty kill.
Skater.
Yep.
I like Eric Robinson's game a lot.
Yeah.
Just a perfect depth winger.
I mean, Carolina's fourth line is an impactful line. Jankowski, Carrier, Robinson, they will make it difficult on Philly's defense, especially their bottom pair. That's when they're out there, right? You send Jankowski, Carrier, Robinson out there, most likely Philly's third pair on defense and fourth line is also out there. And they are out there to stir it up. Their cycle game is impeccable. It's awesome to watch. Anyway, it should be I think it'll be a fun game tomorrow. Carolina's fairly substantial favorite in the game on the road. What does that say? I don't know. I don't know if it says anything. I don't know if it matters. But I think Carolina will play well. I think they'll have a chance to win. And so far the series has taken on the same pattern as the Ottawa series.
If you read into betting odds, I think Carolina is like minus 210 to win the East, by the way.
It's better than that. Yeah, I think it's better to. I think it's better than that now. It's like something like I think they were minus 210 to win the Stanley Cup. They're actually just behind Colorado, very close between them and Colorado to win the Cup. Max, it's been great. Tomorrow, Game 3.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.